It's a live action and it is take 2.
Yes.
We've tried this once before.
It didn't. Well, it went okay. It just wasn't
2
structured.
hours. No, do you know what the problem was? I figured out what the problem was. We weren't trying to explain to the people what incels were. We were trying to find a solution to the incel problem. And for a good chunk of the episode, I think it was just us being shocked by what we were finding.
Yeah.
You know, I'd always heard of incels. I knew what incels were, but they seemed like a much smaller problem. I just thought it was a handful of people that were a problem. You know?
There's a lot.
Then when we started looking into it and reading about it, it was more and more of like, holy shit. And by the end of it, do you know what the problem was? A big part of the episode was, it was us trying to find solutions to the problem. But I don't think there is a solution.
There isn't. I don't think there is.
Because that was the problem. Everything we were saying makes sense.
Yeah.
But then you read their message boards and people giving this advice every fucking day of the week. They just choose to. And you have no idea some of the stuff I've read more.
Yeah,
this
I don't want to
is
be
crazy. I'll explain again why we're here, because I explained it when we tried to record the first time. What happened here was we're covering Preacher on the main show. And sometimes I like to leave this show just be what it is. And other times I like to try and link it into what we're doing on the main show. So it's kind of extra promotion. I suppose,
yeah.
Kind of to keep our mind focused on one task for that week, you know? And again, people will be kind of looking at me going, well, Preacher isn't an incel fucking comic. And it's not an incel comic. It's my favorite fucking comic. I love it. I'm reading it now for maybe the 5th time I'm going through it.
It's not, it's not.
And this show for the next 2 weeks, that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
This week is incels. And then because I think the Grail story is going to go probably 3 episodes, 3 parts. The next 2 weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the storylines in Preacher and discuss them.
Okay.
And I'm only going to go halfway with that. And then the week after, we'll do the ending and the TV show at the same time. But anyway, I'm kind of going off. When I had planned to do Preacher, I noticed, like, you know, because again, this was written from 95, 96 to 2000, I think.
Okay.
And obviously PC wasn't as big a deal back then. It was starting to come in.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of themes of Jesse kind of talking to... learning as he goes. You know, he knows that some of the stuff he says isn't acceptable, and he'll be like, you know, I'm still learning, give me a chance. Yeah. And I kind of started thinking, well, yeah, I suppose you might have that sense of toxic masculinity, because he's constantly leaving Tulip behind to go do his thing, like, you know. It's not like the TV show where she's the hard-hitting one. She is a hard-hitting one, but he won't believe in her. They do it in Preacher. Okay. In the TV show. Near the end, he skips out and her to go to Masada.
I remember that. Yeah.
But it's a bigger deal in the comic book because it happens a few times. We'll get into that next week. Okay. But toxic masculinity started coming into my head. I was like, that could be a good subject for its live action. Mainly because it's always bothered me. Not the toxic masculinity, it does bother me. But the fact that I talk more than you on the podcasts.
You mentioned that last week.
And it makes me, I didn't mention it last week. I mentioned it on the last attempt at recording this show.
That's what I meant.
So people haven't heard it. But I worry then sometimes that people think I'm talking over you, or I'm talking for you, or I'm getting in your way when you're trying to talk.
Or you're pointing out when I make mistakes, like you just did a minute ago.
I know, yeah. There'd be a punishment for that.
I know, shit. All right, Diddy.
He used to punish her. Do you read that?
No, take away her fecking. But yeah, no.
Come here. That's a Horrorverse headlines kind of story. That's something, because I'm following the shit out of that.
If I start talking about that now, I'm not going to stop.
Anyway. I started worrying about that, and I was like, maybe it's a good thing to look into it and see what it is, and see if you're a toxic masculine. Just to see am I falling into these stupid traps as well, so that I can better myself. What most of these people should be trying to do when you get into one of these traps, because I think what we've learned straight off the bat is that incels kind of have a hierarchy of, it's like a cult. You have the people who are fueling the fire, and then the people who are genuinely depressed that are falling into this pit. Do you know? Okay. So what happened was I started looking up stuff about toxic masculinity one night. I think you were sick. So I gave you the bed to yourself. I was like, you stretch out. I'm going to sleep in the couch. I'm going to watch some TV. And I watched some incel documentaries, and I was flicking through all this stuff. I had some weird dreams that night. But I started flicking through stuff. And toxic masculinity led me to the manosphere. The manosphere led me to incels. Incels on Reddit led me to the incel message board. And then I read some fucked up shit for the entire night. And I read for hours I mean, I was just it was like when I first found fucking the serial killer subreddit. I just couldn't help myself. I'd find something, it was completely disturbing, and I'd look more into it. And then I
you just get sucked in. Yeah.
I haven't been able to go back since. That's the big difference. When it was
why would you want to go back? It's pure fucking
people would say the same
like.
thing about serial killers. Why do I keep going back to read about them? It's not, because technically, no matter what way you look at it, the serial killers are worse than the incels. Not to defend the incels, but in a hierarchy of who are worse people, the serial killers top it because they actually go out and do something.
Oh no, I agree with you, but I mean, like from what I was getting, what you were saying on the message boards was that, like, as in, it was very depressing. That it was like you'd be constantly listening to someone going, "Woe is me," and you know, as in, but you're not listening to that from a serial killer. You're reading about the serial killer and what's going on in their heads. Like you know, like the mental problem. Exactly. You're not like listening to these people go on and on and on.
But you know what it felt like?
Yeah.
And this is the truth. It felt like I was at serial killer summer camp or serial killer school or whatever. It was like you could guarantee somewhere on that message board there is someone we will read about in the news at some point in the future. Yeah. Because a lot of the guys who have done it, do you remember, was it New York or Canada? I think it was Canada. Where the dude drove it was a year or two ago, where he drove the van into a crowd of people. Oh,
yeah. That happened in a few places afterwards.
But this was one of the first big ones,
yeah.
He was an incel.
Okay.
And it's just stuff like that. You're going to find a lot of...
Like in Mr. Mercedes, was he an incel?
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brady from Mr. Mercedes. Yeah. 100%. Did you see him fucking anybody?
No, did he not kind of have a thing with the cashier at one stage?
No, she was his friend. Yeah. She was a lesbian.
But I thought that's why it started, that he thought that, okay, maybe I picked that up wrong, that he thought
maybe I picked that up wrong. She looked like a lesbian, I'm pretty sure.
No, I think she was, but I thought that he might have thought that there was a chance there, because he was getting on with her.
Do I remember her hitting on Holly in it at some point? I don't know.
Maybe.
I gotta watch the game. Yeah. Spoilers. We will cover that if not this year, next year. So I'll be rewatching it. I do love that. I've read all those books. I've watched the TV show. I haven't seen the TV show since it was released, so I'd watch that again.
Yeah, we've only seen it once. Yeah.
So I suppose the best thing we can do here, instead of falling into the trap we did last time we tried to record this,
is read.
I found a nice little kind of breakdown.
Okay.
It's journal-exit.de. It's a Canadian thing as far as I know.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the research. Yeah, the research was done in Canada.
Ah, okay.
Public Safety Canada's Community Resilience Fund. So what this does, I've read through it already. It'll tell us what incels are. It'll tell us about the danger of incels, and it'll give us a lot of the terms and stuff like that. And we can stop and talk about them as we go along, because again, I have watched documentaries. I've done all the reading here.
Okay.
And yeah, it's depressing, man. Because do you know what's worse is there's a lot more of these people around than you think, and they're closer to you than you think. You know, they seem to be everywhere. Yeah. And once it's funny because they go on about taking the black pill, the blue pill, the red pill, and all that stuff. It is sort of Matrix-like of once you are woken to this fact,
you realize it's everywhere.
You're very aware that they're there.
Like at the end of Adolescence.
But I said this to you. I said this to you because we watched Adolescence as well in preparation for all this. And because we hadn't watched it yet, people kept going on to us about it. And I was like, all right, if ever we're going to watch it, before we do an episode about incels. And it was funny because I had already done all the online stuff. I had been through there and I had that weird dream. And I told you about the weird dream last time we tried to record it. Yeah. So I had a dream, and I didn't know what it was about at the time, and it was only watching Adolescence that clicked it for me what I was after dreaming, because it was directly after I read all this shit. And in the dream, I was walking around, because it seems like my dreams lately all happen in a very similar background.
Okay.
That I am usually in a community around a lot of people that I know, and we're having a bit of fun and all this stuff, or something creepy might be going on. I have a lot of nightmares, but I like my nightmares, so I don't mind them. They're adrenaline fueled. You wake up, you're like, yeah, I'm getting back into that.
Yeah.
Because I'm very brave in my nightmares, to be fair.
I've heard you being brave. Wailing in your sleep.
And so in the dream, I'm walking around and I can feel like there's this darkness around us. There's something fucking good. Like there's something hunting us. Like there's something following us, but I can't see it. It's not there. Every time I look around, I can't see where the fucker is.
Okay.
But as I'm walking along the road, I'm seeing people. And some of them look regular. And some of them look like horror movie monsters, but dressed in regular clothes. So for example, and this sounds funny, but for example, I passed a bus stop and there was like 5 people standing there. 2 normal people. Dead center in the middle was Jason Voorhees. Like way taller than everybody else. Clearly a fucking deformed human being. But he's wearing a white shirt.
Yeah.
You know, almost like a Mormon. Do you know the way they dress? But he had the black
white
tie
shirt
on,
and the suit pants.
And suit pants, but he had a tie on, he had a briefcase in his hand, and he was looking defeated like he had to go to work too.
Oh, like Mr. Incredible.
Who's Mr. Incredible?
From The Incredibles.
I've never seen The Incredibles.
Oh, Josh.
But yeah, that kind of concept. So I see that and I keep walking, but I start noticing that more and more people are like this. And then I get to my grandparents' house where I always end up in my dreams. I don't know why, but I always end up at their house. And I'm talking to them, but I still know something is out there. So the last thing I remember in that dream was walking out their front door and looking around the place to see if I could see anything. And there was nothing. And then I woke up and I was like, that was a fucked up dream. And then we're watching Adolescents. And the last episode where he's walking through the DIY shop and the incel is working in there and starts coming up to him going, there's more of us than you think. We'll put up a GoFundMe. We'll help pay for the kid's fucking lawyer, a high-priced lawyer.
She deserved it kind of shit.
And he starts looking around. He starts noticing there's more and more of these people dressed like that, looking like that, you know. And it's easy to see them. They dress like shit. They have no personal hygiene. And I don't give a fuck anymore, right? Because this is the problem I think I have, right?
You're too nice. You don't want to hurt people that are already feeling shitty about themselves.
I get this feeling like when I'm reading about serial killers and they're on death row, I'm like, oh, that's terrible. You can't kill them. That's fucked up. And then I have to remind myself that these people, if allowed, would kill everybody and have murdered multiple people and ruined lives. And it's like, I have to kind of talk my way back down from it. But I get really sympathetic towards people that I shouldn't be sympathetic towards.
No, I get it.
You know?
Yeah.
And that was another problem with the first episode we recorded. I was like, I come off like I'm fucking pro them the whole way through because I'm trying to fucking like, I'm agreeing with some stuff they say. And there is some small stuff that I agree with. Not that I agree with, but their view of life. There is certain stuff that I agree with.
Yeah.
Like for one, we were talking and it was the idea that when you're told that there's someone for everyone. And it's like, well, that's not fucking true, is it?
No. Well,
statistically, the statistics are more
but I
for
think
you
that like somebody
you.
in China could have somebody for them in America and they're not going to be able to, they mightn't.
Oh, but see, that's a fairy tale fucking
It's not a fairy tale. No, I don't mean it like that. I do think that there is somebody for everybody, but that you mightn't be lucky enough to meet them. I don't think that every single person is hopeless.
Of us. I think the percentage of people who don't end up with someone is far smaller than the percentage of people that do end up with someone. And the people who don't end up with someone, a lot of the times, like in these guys' cases, it's kind of their own fucking fault. Not in every case. Obviously, I mean, look, you have people with maybe disabilities and stuff like that might struggle to socialize. You might have people who they just can't socialize, probably, or antisocial, all this kind of stuff, or have problems like people with different types of autism who mightn't be the most outgoing or talkative people or non-verbal completely. Yeah, the chances are they're not, going to have the average life we have. But at the same time, these incels do nothing to help themselves.
No.
And then I kind of realized that they were essentially like fucking, it was like me sitting here and kind of trying to fucking like validate terrorism or something like, it's like these people are shit. There's no two ways about it. There is a section of them who have a who have mental issues, who are seriously depressed, who have had shit upbringing, shit lives, and you can understand how they end up in this position.
Okay, yeah.
Because the hole is there and they have no one else to talk to, and then these people are there and they'll talk to them. So that makes sense. They will get stuck in there. But there is a bunch of people who just fucking have shitty attitudes. And that's the reason. And like a big thing that keeps coming back to me, and I've heard other people say it as well, is if you have a shit attitude, a negative attitude, that will come out in your fucking looks as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
People can tell when you have a shitty attitude. People won't want to be around you. But even if you're not conventionally attractive, or what they say is attractive these days, you can change a person's view of you based on your personality. That is a fact. And they will completely deny this. Incels do not believe this at all. But it is an absolute fact that you can fall for someone. They might walk up to you and you might be initially like, not a fucking hope. But then next day you talk to them and you're like, whoa, I like this person, you know? And then looks don't make as much of a difference to it. And
if it's a one night stand you're looking for, then looks are going to matter, obviously. But if you want a proper relationship, I don't think
solely doing your searching for women on fucking
Tinder.
Yeah. On any website that is just, or on an app, because like you said before, if it's an app, what else do they have to judge you on?
It's literally just looks. And usually a lot of men's bios are fucking stupid. I mean, like, really, like, that's the thing.
So did they have it right in the 90s?
What?
Video dating. Do you know where they get the videotapes and the guy would come on and he'd talk and describe himself
I just think do it the good old fashioned way because you're more natural. Do you know what I mean? Even in front of those videos, you're going to be like awkward. You're being recorded. But if you're in like a pub.
In an age though when everybody's videotaping themselves constantly, there isn't a fucking dating app for this. We got to cut this out. We might have an idea here.
So just fucking go off to just because you're videoing yourself constantly doesn't mean you can't go down the road.
No. You're misunderstanding.
What?
I'm saying that it wouldn't be so much, hi, I'm Frank from Listowel. I like to go on long walks.
No, instead it'd be, hi, I'm Frank. I don't like this and I don't like that. And a girl has to be this and a girl has to be that. That's exactly what it would be like.
But see, on the other hand, incels believe then that a woman would just come on and say, well, if you're not 6 foot 6 inches with a 6-pack, don't bother. And that's
some women would be like that, but I think that I don't know. I'm just seeing a lot online lately, even just from people that aren't incels, and I think that I'm not going to say much about it, but even seeing the comments and some of the things about Cassie and the Diddy case today, I mean, like, men
they
really
will be red pill people. Hang on, because we've swerved way off. Let's start looking at some of these things, okay? So what are incels? I think we might have already covered that. But the technical term, involuntary celibates are men who define themselves by their inability to form or access sexual relationships with women. They believe this is the combined result of genetic factors, evolutionary determined traits in women, and inequitable social structures. Incels are predominantly interested in accessing sex with women. So the relationships,
they're not really like looking for relationships.
They are. Some of them are. Some of them aren't. Some of them. This actually, funny enough, was a question that came up on their message board that I read about.
So it's the same like with most of the male population. Some of them are looking for relationships. Some of them are looking for.
They were given the option of. Would they be happy riding a hooker every night, or do they want like a proper, a girl?
Surely the hooker, because as in they're more likely to get sex if they go to a prostitute.
Ooh, with a roasty.
A roasty?
Yeah.
Baked potato, like. What's a roasty?
No, like roast beef. And now, this is another thing I read. This is fucking bonkers. This was hilarious. I only read this yesterday on Incel Tears on Reddit. Incel Tears is where they take all the incel comments and put them on and slag the shit out of them.
Okay.
It's not them bitching them. They hate the fucking site. It's up here somewhere as well. Basically, they were asked because, all right, so a roasty is the way they always show it. They show it as a roll with ham in it or roast beef in it.
I've seen that, yeah.
And one roll is completely closed, so you can't really see the insides. And the other roll has the beef flapping out over the top. So like a vagina, like an innie and an outie.
Yeah. I get it.
But they don't understand that the vaginas just come like belly buttons with innies and outies, right? Yeah. They believe that the outie is the result of having sex with too many men. That this develops. Every woman starts with just the line there. And as they have more and more sex, the lips will come out to the front and begin to resemble a roast beef sandwich. No, they were asked. Now, before you start trying to question that, and there's more.
I do get it, but I don't.
They were asked, in that case, what happens if, like you and me, a woman is with a guy, one guy, for a very long period of time. Like us, we're together 12 years now. And that couple have sex 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And that couple does that for 12 years And then she leaves him. So she's a loyal woman who has had just as much sex as a woman that's out there having sex with a different guy every night. Probably more, because she's doing it 2 or 3 times a day with the same guy. And they were asked, in that case, is she now tainted goods? Does she, because she'd have the roasty as well, because obviously if it's, and they said, wait for it, that they compared the vagina to a memory foam mattress. And they said
that you're going to take the shape of your significant other's penis.
Basically, if I'm going at you every night for the last 12 years, right? 3 times a day, that your vagina would mold itself around my penis to be the perfect shape for my penis.
Holy shit.
And if one person sleeps in a memory foam bed, that memory foam will, wrap its way around you and it'll be perfect for you. But if every guy gets into that memory foam bed, it loses its muscle when you get into it. So if different sizes are going in and out of you the whole time.
What if she goes with a small? What if the person has it? What if her long-term partner has a massive penis, and then she's going off with guys like with a smaller penis? Does that mean that it's going to?
Well, because you've only been with the one guy and it's only been doing the same amount of damage for 12 years, then it should be okay. It should reform or be around it. But once you start going with different sizes, it's constantly. They don't understand.
They don't understand.
That's the thing, right? Because there's another subreddit that is fully based on what incels think a fucking anatomy is like. Do you know how the anatomy works?
And you can tell. Was it in The Last of Us? That there was like a still for, I think it was The Last of Us, and it was a close up of like one of the women characters in it in the video game, and you could see like the downy hair, and I mean like really really downy, like peach fuzz on her cheek, and they're like, oh, I thought, like the comment was, how the fuck is this a woman? And then the comments underneath was, well, you've obviously never been up close to a woman. It's they have a very like preconceived idea of what like a woman should.
But see, again, this is kind of this thing of they kind of believe, they think that you're all like, should be like anime women. That's essentially how they, well, number one, they believe that the perfect age is 17.
That's disgusting.
That should be the age women are having sex at, is 17. And that's their goal, is to find a girl in her peak at 17 before she's been ruined by other men, before anything has started to move around, and they think it's the peak breeding age and all this kind of shit.
But it's not, because I've said it before and I say it again, you are not fully formed. You're not fully formed at 17.
But you know what fucking just kind of went into my head as well, is like, even if one of these incels could get the perfect woman that they want, there is no fucking way a woman's going to stay with them, like.
And listen to the depressing shit over and over, and then bringing down women. It's
funny enough that we were just talking about it, the Diddy trial. He's like an incel, a guy who was an incel who suddenly got loads and loads of
money. So he was able to get loads and loads of sex.
Yeah, because he's kind of demands, but it's like they have an impossible fucking idea of what you're to look like, but at the same time they put in no effort to themselves.
Okay, yeah.
They won't do any, because they've, fuck it, we'll get into it. So incels believe genetic factors influence their physical appearance and or cognitive and social abilities to the extent that they are unattractive to women. Incels establish their unattractiveness through a range of measurements, including their height, weight, bone structure, distance between specific facial features, baldness, wait for it, wrist size, and they have a name for wrist size ones as well, because it's hilarious. Position on the autism spectrum, and numerous other biologically determined features. These systems are measurements that are taken from looksism theories, which draw heavily on eugenics to describe the archetypal man.
What, does their wrist size like correlate to the size of their penis or something?
Not a fucking clue, man. No idea in the world what wrists have to do with anything. But I suppose, I don't know, maybe a weak wrist. And you would think, right? Surely, if you're an incel and you're involuntarily celibate and you're not getting any,
you'd have good wrist muscles.
Of course, the one fucking big part of your body would be your fucking wrist, wouldn't it?
Muscle. Do you not have like, isn't that what that's called there? When you like, yeah, I'm pretty sure if you kind of.
What?
I don't know. That's what I heard in college.
So they take that very seriously. So incels believe that women are evolutionarily predetermined to seek out mates through a process called hypergamy.
Okay.
Hypergamy is premised on the belief that women are more sexually selective, with a narrow view of attractiveness and lower levels of promiscuity than men. Now I would agree with that. I would actually fully agree with that. Women have better control over themselves than men. That's what that line really means. That line that you have a narrow view of a track. That's not true.
It's not.
Women are just more capable of being alone than men are.
There's that, but also society, I think, has like made women be more selective.
Well, you have to be.
We have to be. That's what I mean. Like we have to be very, very careful that like if we go home with somebody that we're coming back the next morning.
But see, that's the other part of it. See, again, I've been kind of bogged down by their shit now for the last couple of weeks, and it's hard to kind of try and think things through sometimes with what they're saying because it's very effective at just boom, 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 noise it until you're kind of like, what are they right? But that is a good point. How often are we sitting here talking about how dangerous shit is for women? That you can't fucking turn around without fucking having to worry about some guy fucking following you or attacking you. Or I don't let you out of the house without a fucking on your own without a special ring on your finger that has 2 spikes on it so you can hit him.
You don't let me out of the house on my own. But I mean, that girl in Limerick, she was the nurse. She went. Do you remember she was in Scotland and she met a guy out and was found in the suitcase like 2 or 3 days later, and she was only from up the road, like.
But that's going back
a few years ago, and it's like literally a one night thing, like.
But again, I would also point out that I have seen a lot of women who I would consider extremely attractive with men that I would be surprised to see them with.
That's because a lot of women do need a good personality.
They would, again, this lot would argue that man must have money.
Right. Okay, I'm just going to say something now. Okay, because you said it to me before. Personality means a huge amount to me, more so than looks, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that every boyfriend I've had has been particularly amazing looking, but they've all had, well, 99% of them have had good personalities, but not one of them was fucking loaded. Not one of them looked like they were on their way to be loaded. Like, do you know that kind of way? That's I mean, that for some women, money is.
If you gave a shit about money, you wouldn't have been with me for the last 12 years.
But you're good looking.
Oh my God. So what is this hypergamy shit? Incels believe that prior to women gaining sexual or financial autonomy, hypergamy was restricted because of their reliance on a husband for physical and material security. With the advancement of women's rights, independence, and sexual freedoms, incels believe women's hypergamous behavior now dominates the sexual marketplace. That's what they call it. So every time you see SM, it's the sexual marketplace, where women now select sexual relations with a small portion of highly attractive men. Incels believe that 20% of men are now monopolizing 80% of women for their sexual relations. The 80-20 rule, they call it. And I explained where this 80-20 rule came to you. Mm-hmm. And apparently it was a study done on Tinder that showed that 80% of women were swiping on only 20% of the men on there. But again, we've already pointed this out. If you are going on Tinder to find somebody, it's going to be based on looks.
And I would say that there's far more men on Tinder than there are women.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would kind of skew that off.
And there is the other side of it too. I know guys who have been on Tinder who will sit there and swipe yes to everybody.
And don't have the balls, but they don't have the balls then to follow up. Like, do you know,
it's not even a follow-up thing. Sometimes they're just swiping to up their odds. If I swipe on everybody, then I can see
Tinder's
who swipes back and then pick the best one. Do you know?
Yeah.
And that's their view on it. So, I mean, that is going to change things too, like, you know?
Yeah.
But there is, look, let's face it. Men, I won't, I watch how I say this.
Very careful.
It's definitely not a case of we enjoy sex more. That's definitely not the case. But we are a hornier fucking gender, definitely.
But that comes from nature. It's like, it's because you're male. The male of any animal is going to be a bit,
seeking it out.
Yeah.
Start kind of
spread their seed, like progenate. You know? Yeah.
But like, since we've been working a lot online, you get guys who'll jump in your DMs on Instagram and say, "Hey, baby, love your pictures," and I do not get any of that shit. So I understand. But then again, I don't post any pictures of myself. So,
but how would you react if one of those men slid in and said, "Hey, baby," to you?
So, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm flattered, but I'm spoken for.
Ah, you're so nice.
So yeah, I don't know. It's yeah. So that's the 80-20 rule, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially again, like, I don't know, maybe we don't understand because this was like literally the online thing was just happening as we kind of hooked up. Like I had a Tinder profile for what? A couple of weeks before you and me were together?
I never touched online dating before.
I never met anybody on Tinder when I had it.
Yeah.
Because there was the girlfriend I had before you, we broke up at the start of November, and you and me were together by the end of January, or by middle of January.
It just doesn't make sense to me, like the whole online dating. Like it does seem like a booty call app, like premise. I mean, like I need to see the way somebody moves. I need to see the whole package. Do you know, that kind of way? Because just because your face might distract me. So if you're sending
Amy pictures or anything like that, she wants to see your whole package.
No, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
But
thanks for that, Josh. I'm gonna have to close my DM.
But yeah, so I had like Tinder for like 6 weeks.
Okay.
And I never actually used it. I can't remember using it.
And did you match with anybody?
I can't remember. It was 12 years ago.
Okay. And were you one of these people that was swiping the whole time to up your odds?
It wasn't like I was having a hard time with it either.
No, you weren't.
I mean, as soon as that literally the night that breakup happened, the boys in my motorcycle club had me dragged out on a Tuesday night to go to a fucking pub. And by the end of the night, we were talking to girls again. Really. So, I mean, not to sound big-headed about it, but at the time,
you never had a problem.
I didn't need it. I was able to talk. I liked going to the pub. I liked talking to people. So it wasn't that big of an issue. And I was usually there with my mates. So there would be a lot of hot ball and messing and stuff like that. And that's where I start to feel bad for the incels, right? For some of the incels. The ones who are on the depressed scale. Not the ones who are just fucking entitled and believe that vagina is owed to them. I'm talking about the guys who have shit upbringings, have shit fucking role models, and are looking at the wrong fucking places and just have been kind of indoctrinated into this stuff and don't think there's any other way out of it because there may be. And like I was telling you, that documentary I was watching.
But not all incels have like a shit upbringing or a shit.
No. Some of them are just shit. Most of them are just shit. I'm talking about the ones that kind of help pad out the number. It's like I was talking to you the first time I tried to record this. It's cult-like in the sense of you've got a bunch of people up top who like to push this because they're gaining power from it and they're gaining some sort of recognition from it. But then they have to have followers. Otherwise, who's going to fucking tell them they're great? And so they prey on these people who are clearly depressed. So people who are like, who might find it hard to socialize, who might have found it hard to find friends, who might have maybe grown up being homeschooled or grown up maybe moving from town to town. You know, you see this a lot in America, no roots, so like military families and stuff like that. And if they also have a shit family background, stuff like that, sometimes they'll find solace in their computer.
Yeah.
And if they're getting bullied a lot at school and stuff like that, and they're finding it hard to make friends, they go on Reddit or something like that. And there is a subreddit for everything, especially maybe a few years ago. Reddit's really clamped down now. It's very hard to find. It's really hard to find an incel subreddit now. Yeah. Plenty of slagging incels, but none that's actually an incel because they really crack down on the hate kind of stuff. I remember when I first went on Reddit, when Bob told me about Reddit the first time. And there used to be like fucking a jailbait section and everything, like where you posted pictures of teens. He showed me that. I was like, holy fuck, are we going to get arrested if we look at this? And he's like, no, they're wearing clothes, so it's fine. I was like, it's not fine. But that got taken down pretty quick.
Yeah.
But it used to be more Wild West when it came to Reddit, that anything could go up there. Yeah, it really kind of knocked back in that, which I like.
Oh, they needed to. Yeah.
But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so they go on Reddit. And they're talking to people, and then someone will say, "Oh man, you need to take the black pill, man. Come talk to me." And then they'll go and they'll DM them, they'll start talking, and then it's a kindred spirit. It's someone who's been through all the shit. They actually say
to them, "You need to take the black pill," as in you need to be depressed out of your fucking head, kind of thing.
Well, no, it's just admitting what life is like, and that's it.
But that is, to me, that screams depression.
But today, mates, you will be a lot better off if you just accept that this is the way it's going to be from now on.
Oh, boy.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're torturing yourself by believing that you have any hope.
Okay.
So just lose hope and forget about it, and you'll be better off for it.
But then you're cutting yourself off from any potential.
Exactly, which is what causes worse depression, deeper into the rabbit hole, more indoctrinated into the shit.
Yeah.
And now you're stuck there, you know?
Yeah.
And and then imagine that all day, every day being spewed at you. And then at the same
brainwashed,
time, you're walking down the street and you're seeing couples that are happy and you're fucking full of spite, and it's like, well, what do they have? And especially if you're not taking care of yourself, right? If you're dressed in shitty clothes and your hair is fucking scraggly and you're not
ducked your head with grease,
and your nails are long and dirty and shit like that, well, then even the most average looking person looks amazing to you.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then it's like, well, I have to look like that today. But it's not that hard to look like that. It's not that much work. And if you really want to fucking try and work out of it, this is the way to do it.
Just go wash your fucking face.
But the problem is the depressed ones are too depressed to get into to motivate themselves to do that. And the ones overhead are getting the taste of power for the first time and like having this power and like having, because again, there's thousands of people on these news sites, these chat sites.
Yeah.
And they're constantly kind of bolstering each other up that, oh, we're going to have there'll be a day and we're all going to go and we're going to kill all the fucking, all the Stacys, and we're going to fucking have, and the ones that are left will know we're the dominant ones that have to come to us and all this. It's just ridiculous kind of shit. Yeah. Oh man, fuck it. So incels believe mainstream society ignores or actively represses information about the genetic factors and evolutionary traits that impact their ability to access sexual relations. So those who do not subscribe to incel belief systems are blue-pilled. We're blue-pilled.
So we're not subscribers, so we're blue-pilled.
Yeah, we believe...
We're the good guys.
Oh, yeah. We believe there's hope for everybody. That if you try, you'll get there. If you go about the right methods. Because, you don't want to oversimplify this for people. Relationships are fucking hard.
Oh, they are. They
Getting
take
into
work.
a relationship is hard. There's a lot of knockbacks. I will tell you now, one of the happiest things about being in a 12-year relationship is knowing I never have to feel the pain of a breakup again. Because that sucks.
So is that the only reason we're still together? Is because you're scared to break up with me?
Just please stay with me. But it is I think about that fucking depression. When you think everything's going good and suddenly the carpet's pulled from under you and you're on your own again. And especially when I was in my, maybe just before we got together and I was kind of in my 20s, is this it? Especially if you've been with someone for a good period of time and you think, now I got to start all over again. From scratch to rebuild what I had.
Imagine if we broke up, that's it. It's 12 years. And I don't mean that it's work, but it's 12 years of it's a foundation. It's history. There's a lot there that we've put into it. And then having to face going, like you said, that's 12 years of myself, giving myself to somebody.
And you and me have seen it. I mean, over 12 years, you and me have gotten more and more comfortable with each other and have been able to tell each other more and more stuff. And to this point, I don't think either of us have a fucking secret to get towards each other. We know everything. We tell each other everything. As soon as an idea pops into one of our head, we turn around and say it without even fucking thinking.
I don't have a feel. Usually, whatever is in my head just comes out. Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of comfort with somebody as well.
It takes time.
Exactly. Do you know, I mean, you see it in sitcoms and stuff all that joke of when do you fart in front of a woman for the first time and stuff like that. You know, it's just there's all this thing that's there, and outside that there is a lot. There's obvious give and take and all this kind of stuff in relationships, and it's hard fucking work. And when you are single and you're trying to find someone, it can be complicated. I was thinking this week, because I noticed because we watch movies with the kids a lot, right? Well, we don't watch kids' movies. They're kind of getting a little older now. I mean, Riley's 11, Fiona's 6, and they have more interest in kind of. They do like their few kids' cartoons, but they do like all I got to do to make Fiona watch a movie.
Tell him Jack Black's in it.
Well, that's the new thing, but all I have to say is this is full of dirty jokes, and he's like, I'm in, throw it on, and he's up for it,
Yeah.
But I've noticed that they're making more there's more boob talk going on out of the two of them these days, and that kind of led me to think, well, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to talk about this? Because we obviously don't react the same way our parents reacted. If I had made boob jokes in front of my parents, it would have been bang, shut up.
Oh no, we made boob jokes. We were allowed to make boob jokes. No, my brother used to make boob jokes as well.
You're a girl and your brother's gay. I think you get away with it.
We didn't know he was gay when he was making boob jokes. He was about Fiona's age.
But my parents used to be fairly strict on that. You have respect for women, and that's it. You can't be talking like that.
Yeah. Well, we're still brought up with respect for women. So.
Yeah, but this was more just, we don't
Cop
talk
the
about
fuck
that.
on,
Joke about that. They were a bit conservative in that sense. They've loosened up about that, and you could get away with the odd thing, but for the most part, they didn't like us talking like that.
Okay.
So that's why I think my mom says she doesn't listen to our podcast because of the horror. I'm sure it's because she doesn't want to hear me say some of the stuff I'm saying.
And talk about vaginas.
Big wet vagina.
Do you know what I noticed just from watching? I don't watch a whole load of TV, but when I was at home this week, I watched a bit of TV. Grown people have a huge problem with using the words vagina and the words penis. There was one woman and she was on this talk show and she was like, the question was, do you have a funny story for us? And she was like, yeah, I was cooking one day and I set my girls on fire, and she started laughing. And I was looking at Mom and I was like, she set her kids on fire. And the host was like, you're laughing because you set your kids on fire. And she was like, this is a fully grown woman. She was like, no, the girls, my girls. It's like, just say boobs.
Oh,
and then there was a doctor.
I thought you talked about a vagina the way you were talking.
No.
I call the boobs would be the girls.
And then there was a doctor. There was a doctor and he was like, oh yeah, my first day in A&E, I had to go in because I was called to see if I wanted to see a catheter being taken out of a thing. And this is a doctor. And they're like, what thing? Do you know, say penis, you're a doctor.
But see, this is where I'm getting, right? So when it comes to the boys, I'm like, I don't want them to grow up like this.
No.
I don't want them to even have a notion of this shit. So I was like, I got to be honest with them. I got to talk to them. Obviously, they're too young for me to tell them this stuff. But when they become teenagers and stuff like that, and questions start to come, because I want them to be able to ask me questions. And that's why I allowed certain jokes and stuff like that. Obviously, if they go too far with it, we turn on like, stop. You're not supposed to say that.
But you don't want them to be scared.
I don't want it, exactly. But see, I was trying to think of how to work this when it gets to the point that they start asking about sex, right? Because that same thing happened one day up in the bedroom, and they were going on about some joke they heard in a movie, and Riley was like, and he said penis, and I was like, okay, and he was like, am I allowed to say penis? I was like, well, that's what it's fucking called. What are you going to
call it? Like,
I mean, that's the technical name for it. That's what doctors call it. That's what it's in the biology. Penis. And the next thing, Fion's over in the corner going, penis. Like, shut the fuck up. You can't say
not like that.
But I was like, how am I going to deal with this? Because obviously we were brought up with this fucking weird fucking fairy tale story of you only have sex with someone you love. And I kind of started to put this together in my head, and I was like, no. The right way to explain it is, when you have sex with someone you love, it's a whole lot better than when you have sex with someone you don't love. Yeah. But the problem isn't really, do you love the girl or do you not love the girl? The question is, are you on the same page?
Yeah.
If you're sleeping with, if I know, if we're not together and I know that you are mad about me, but I have no interest in being with you, but then I get horny and decide I'm going to go over and flirt with you just to get the ride that night, that's wrong.
That is wrong.
In my eyes, that's wrong, because you are now manipulating this person to get what you want and giving them false hope. If you and I have no interest in a relationship, but we're both having a drink, we're both horny, and we decide that we want to have sex, that's okay, because both of us know the fucking rules. Both of us know where we stand. Yeah. And I think that's the way it should be described. Is sex is a great thing. Sex is a brilliant thing. It feels amazing, but it only feels amazing when you're doing it right. Yeah. And not right is in mechanically when you're emotionally doing it right. If you're taking advantage of someone, you're eventually going to feel shit for it. They're going to fucking hate you for it.
They're going to feel shit for it as well.
And nobody's going to come out of it happy.
No.
So you have to be, that's how I'd like to teach them. It's like, not be fucking looking for the perfect woman to do this with, but find someone who is at the same fucking place you are. Do not just fucking go off with people for the sake of going off with people, or manipulating people's emotions to get what you want. Make sure you're with somebody who understands that you're both in the same place when it happens, and then it's okay. It's more than fucking fine.
Yes.
And obviously you're of age.
Obviously.
Do not do it anytime soon.
No.
No grandkids here.
Yes, I'm all up for grandkids in like 30 years' time.
Exactly.
I'm not being called nanny yet. Nanny's
well, he'll be a teenager in 2 years' time, so good luck.
You can be dealing with that one.
So, where was I? So they believe that they're being ignored, which I would say, yeah, I mean, they don't get a lot of play on mainstream media. That's not a bad thing. Nobody wants to really fucking hear a bunch of fucking, basement dwellers bitch and moan about how women should be giving them sex. Why would we be talking about them in the mainstream media?
No.
I mean, why would we talk about them at all? I mean, these are people who, they aren't genetically inferior, but they have made themselves socially inferior to everybody. That might sound harsh, but that's what I believe. They made
themselves social pariahs, like.
And if you have views like this, you don't deserve to be with a woman. That's the way I fucking believe it. I genuinely do. These are the people who are killing fucking women most of the time. Yeah. Do you know? You rarely hear of well-laid guy killed a bunch of women. Usually it's loner kills a bunch of women. angry man kills a bunch of women after trying to rape them. I mean, most serial killers have a rape issue to go on too, don't they?
They do. Did Ted Bundy? I know Ted that he did, but he had relationships. He didn't have any problem getting women, did he?
Well, I mean, notoriously, isn't he known as the good-looking serial killer?
I don't understand that. 70s beauty standards were a whole different ball game, if you ask me.
I suppose in the sense of...
If you compare him to other serial killers.
He had a haircut. He was clean. His clothes were clean.
He was studying law, wasn't he?
He seemed to be... Where he dropped out, I believe, and had to go back. He was planning to go back before when he was caught or getting caught.
He presented himself as having his own car. There was a lot
he had the charisma that other killers wouldn't have had. So, I mean, he doesn't really fucking count. He was just... Obviously, with serial killers, there's extra problems there to what they do, you know, but...
Yeah.
But, again, it was, in a lot of their cases, it is men who are looking for a specific sexual thing that they cannot get. Dahmer and Gacy both wanted men, couldn't get them. Or in Gacy's case, boys. Why can I never remember the dude that likes shoes? Jerry Brunos. He wanted, he was in, they did a bit of him in
Mindhunter.
Yeah.
Mindhunter.
Manhunter was the original Red Dragon.
It was, you're right. Sorry.
Was someone famous played Hannibal in that too, didn't they?
In Manhunter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 seconds there now.
Who was that?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Oh, I don't know about that. Brian Cox.
Yeah, he was okay.
Was he a good Hannibal?
To be honest, I had Manhunter on DVD for a very long time. And I didn't really know what it was. I kind of picked it up as a deal, with a bunch of other DVDs.
Yeah.
And then one night I decided to throw it on. I was like, cool, look, a Hannibal prequel or Hannibal storyline will be good. I'll throw it on. And then when I was watching it, I realized it was just Red Dragon again. I was like, I've seen this. And I was like,
I love Red Dragon.
There was some edit jumps in it. So I was like, fuck this. I watched it true and true, but it was like, I've seen this movie already.
I think Red Dragon's probably my favorite Hannibal movie. I absolutely adore it, but I think my favorite Hannibal, I don't know if it's controversial, is Mads Mikkelsen.
That's not controversial. They all love him.
Oh, I thought like everybody kind of likes Hopkins. I know that... say our parents' generation would find Hopkins extremely creepy.
I think that's the difference. I think Hopkins is seen as the scariest Hannibal, whereas Mads Mikkelsen is the Hannibal you want to fuck.
I don't want to fuck Mads Mikkelsen's Hannibal. I would rather... I find him far creepier than Anthony Hopkins. Far creepier in that role.
What about in Rogue One?
I find him attractive in everything else. That's why I want him.
Well then, fuck off. So, all right, let's get into this. What's a Chad? Chad is an archetypal white alpha male contrasting incels in both their physicality and unlimited access to sex. This is another ridiculous thought that they have that it's unlimited. I mean, it's only unlimited if you're Charlie Sheen and you're willing to fuck everything. Drawing on eugenics and white supremacism, Chads embodied idealized characteristics of Aryan men. Tall, chiseled, square-jawed, well-endowed, and possessing a full head of hair.
I don't find Aryan men, I don't find blonde. Blonde wouldn't be the top of my... Do you know, I don't mean it like that, but I would go for kind of darker looks.
I think you're thinking like platinum fucking blonde here. I think they're talking more like Nordic kind of blonde. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Kind of sandy blonde, kind of...
surfery blonde.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I suppose so. I suppose they'd be mad for Ludwig Kaiser in WB. Do you know Gunther's mate? That's banging Tiffany Stratton.
Small guy.
No, Ludwig.
The skinny guy.
He's not short anyway, I'll tell you that much. He's skinny.
Oh my God, in my head, no. Do you know what it is? I get him mixed up with Spud, the rock star, and in my head, Spud's small.
Facially, yeah, they're similar. Yeah. He looks like a German Spud.
But no, I think that's where the problem is. Yeah, no, he... Oh,
Drake
okay.
Maverick.
Maybe it's just the way he dresses, because in my head, he's about that thin. But they're the top, yeah.
But you see, when you put him in front of the guys who are jacked to shit, he looks skinny and he's taller.
No, I get it.
He's still fairly muscly, but yeah.
So he'd be a Chad.
Look at who he's
looking at him. No, but I mean...
he's sleeping with and how he looks.
Tiffy time.
They would consider him an ultimate Chad, except for the fact he's not main event in WWE. That would shoot him down.
He wouldn't be my type, so surely that just disproves their whole theory, because if I'm able to say that this one person isn't my type, then he doesn't have unlimited access. Do you know what I mean?
But you don't have to work hard to disprove.
Well, yeah.
It's not difficult. Yes.
But for them,
they just say you're lying. That would be their answer. If he was here in front of you and he said, I want to ride you, you go off and do it. You're only lying because you don't have any chance of them. Fuck you. You're nothing but a fucking, what's the other one? Becky. You're a Becky, not a Stacey. Blah,
Becky
blah,
with
blah.
the good hair.
But it's funny, right? Because when we go down, right, they have a diagram here of what a Becky is and what a Stacey is. Where? And to me, it just looks like Amy on a night out and Amy chilling at home.
Okay, cool. Have a split personality.
Becky at home and Stacey on the streets, huh?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be Stacey in the sheets? No? No. Oh. Anyway. I can't make that fit.
Right. So this answers some of the questions or some of the things I brought up earlier about, different guys or guys that might have money and stuff like that. And all right. So that's where the Beckys come into it. We'll get that now here in a minute. But so where am I?
A Giga Chad. A Giga Chad.
Don't get me started. There's more here, man.
Oh my God.
Incels believe that hypergamous behavior causes women to seek out Chads as the most attractive and powerful sexual partners available. Chads thus monopolize sex with a disproportionate number of women. Incels believe that even women in monogamous relationships with other men, often called beta bucks men, secretly engage in sexual relationships with Chads. You're not banging any Chads behind my back, no?
No, I reckon that the way Chads are described, I wouldn't like them.
Chads are able to engage in depraved sexual acts. So you're a beta bucks man?
Because
I hope not, because I'll give you a description of what they're like.
Sorry, I picked up the wrong end of the stick.
Chads are able to engage in depraved sexual acts with these women who refuse to take part in similar sexual behavior with their beta male partners or incels. So I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, okay.
A common belief held by incels is that all women engage in sexual behavior in their early teens with Chads, and that finding a virginal woman over the age of 18 is almost impossible.
I know a lot of girls that were over 18 before they lost their virginity.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible.
Early teens, I don't know. I like genuinely early teens. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch at the moment, but early teens, like, it seems like a bit of a stretch because early teens to me is like 13, 14. And I mean,
like, it would have to be, wouldn't it? Because if they see 17 as being woman, then they'd have to be early teens. Would have to be 13. It would, 14,
but what kind of man is going to have like a big buff body at 13, 14? Or is it that these?
Oh, no, you'll go for an older guy, obviously. 16, 17, 18, that kind of thing for that young. But the incel community is racially diverse and is actively involved in discussions of race and race realism. The Chad is the most commonly referenced male archetype. However, there are other racialized Chad figures. So I'm going to ask you what you think these are. I was writing all of them. What's a Tyrone?
An Irish incel.
No, black Chad.
I thought Tyrone was an Irish name.
Chad Preet?
Indian.
Yep. Chatham?
American? Chatham, like Adam.
On.
Chatham.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I pronounce it better. Chatham.
Superhero? Like Shazam?
Like Saddam, Amy.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, I get it. I was thinking Adam, so I was thinking maybe that's a common name in America. The most
obvious one, a Chang.
Oh, Russian. I'm joking, Chinese.
All of these figures are constructed through racist stereotypes.
Well, yeah.
A Stacey is the female counterpart to a Chad. She is a female archetype at the apex of the social and sexual hierarchy. Stacey's have their pick of sexual and romantic partners. For this reason, they are hated by incels and are a target for online vitriol, humiliation, and physical violence. A typical Stacey will only date Chads.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there are women out there like that.
There are women out there like that have a certain... Okay. All right. I don't think that finding... Okay. How do I describe this? Okay. So if I find one type of person attractive, is that not just a very softcore offshoot of a fetish? Do you know what I mean? Like, because... So some people like dressing up, right? Okay. Yeah. But that is like a really sexual kind of fetish. Yeah?
Yeah.
But if I find, like, say you and people that look like you attractive to the point where, I would sleep with them, is it not like the same thing as like, well, they turn me on, so it's kind of like
you're right, yeah. But their argument is that most of you have a fetish for 6 foot tall, buff guys with that look like movie stars. Basically, you all want to just ride Jason Momoa.
Right. And you just said that some of them have, like, want to do extreme sexual things with women. Like, so, I mean...
But you also have to be a virgin.
It's asking a lot. Right?
So you need to know how to do it all, but never have done it. This is incel logic.
Oh my God. I'm not going to talk about it, I promise, because I know you want to keep it for the headlines, but there's a lot that you're saying here that I'm thinking, oh my holy territory fuck.
All over the shop, man. I'm not going to...
Like, just from Cassie's testimony today, a lot of, even that last sentence that you just said, it's just screaming that to me.
Yep. Well, that's the rules. Then you have Becky and betas. So Beckys are the majority of the female population.
Sorry, Beckys are. Okay.
And are subordinate to Stacey's. They are average looking and have lower social status. According to Incels, their sexual market value averages between 3 to 7 out of 10. Like Stacey's, Becky's want to engage in sexual relationship with Chads. However, Incels believe that Becky's settle for beta bucks males after hitting the wall at 25. So once you're 25, you're no good to them anymore. That is the age Incels believe you start to lose your sexual appeal.
Huh.
I've been with you since you were 23?
22.
Yeah, you're just getting fucking sexier with age, to be honest. So I don't think that's true. The primary difference between Stacey's and Becky's is that Incels view Stacey's as hostile and unattainable, whereas they feel that they are owed attention and sex from the inferior Becky. Now see, right there, that's the issue. That's what makes these people not sympathetic, but scumbags. If you were... Yes, the right thing to fucking do, if you feel that this girl is unattainable to you and she does not want to give you the time of day, yes, maybe you do have to lower your standard from television movie star to fucking average people like your fucking self around the place. But to then expect them to be inferior to you. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's impossible for a bad looking fella to go out with an absolute stunner of a girlfriend. That's not impossible whatsoever. But I'm saying if your confidence will not let you approach the extremely hot girl,
to be able to establish a connection.
And you want to try and build up and maybe someone more like you would be better. That's a great idea. Go for the girl more like you and, maybe you'll fucking end up finding the person you're mad about. But going into that fucking relationship with the idea of, well, because you're not a Stacey, you're now inferior and you owe me all this stuff. So you're essentially now my sex slave and going to take care of me. That is the wrong attitude to go into that. That's where they fuck up. That's why they become incels. Yeah. Because Becky won't put up with that shit.
No, she won't.
And you can't blame Becky for not putting up with that shit.
You can't.
You know? Based on the 1999 film... so we're into the pills. Okay, here we go. Based on the 1999 film, The Matrix, the concept of pills is prevalent across the manosphere. And far right. I still haven't actually looked up what the manosphere is. From what I can gather, it's just a lot of that Andrew Tate, Conor McGregor shit talking.
The manosphere is a network of communities that create, consume, and distribute content online aimed at men and boys.
Yep. According to Incels, a blue-pilled male engages in conventional dating practices, unaware of the real society Incels inhabit. Incels see blue-pilled attempts to improve attractiveness as futile unless one's physical appearance improves, as this is all women care about. An example of this can be seen below. So what's this below? So therapy is blue-pilled. Don't fix your face. Okay, so you can go to therapy, but you're still ugly. Okay, I get it. Okay. Red pill. Swallowing the red pill refers to a man waking up to the real world, where women are better off than men. Female oppression is a myth, and women actually desire traditional gender roles. See, that's all a fucking contradiction, isn't it? Because how can women fucking be running around wanting fucking Chad and wanting to fucking have this big lifestyle, but want also at the exact same time want traditional gender roles?
But there are some women that do want traditional gender roles. Do you know?
That's a choice.
That's what I'm saying. That is a choice. If that's what you want, that's what you want. But you shouldn't have to hold everybody to that same standard.
If a man is aware of these truths of red pill ideology, he can manipulate women to his advantage and access sex and power. The term red pill is not exclusive to incels and is used by other parts of the manosphere as well as far right and violent far right. So, I mean, this to me is basically not a case of men who can't get sex, but men who have absolutely no respect for women.
Okay. That's why they can't get sex.
That they think that you're full of shit and that, you know, that you're playing the pity card a lot and that you'd be better off back where you were. That all this freedom you got over the last few, all the rights you got, sorry, not freedoms, rights that you were given back over the last few decades, that you were better off beforehand when you didn't have to have all those silly rights. And
again, all that shit beforehand is relatively modern in itself. I'm sick of saying that.
Use all this older kind of stuff to your advantage to play the pity card and get your way by. And that these men who will be the likes of Andrew Tate believe that it's just easier to trick you into it. Kind of imagine fucking, to bring him back up again, Charlie Sheen and 2.5 Men. Mm-hmm. That is essentially a red-pilled man. A man who, even though he doesn't act like that, it's someone who basically just sees women as sex objects that can be manipulated into bed in one way or the other.
But he realizes in 2.5 Men.
Does he?
When Rose leaves, I think it kind of clicks with him that he could have had something good. And he's a bit, oh shit.
I don't know. I think like the ending for him in that is that there's a kind of half thought that she might have killed them.
Well, maybe he deserved it though at the same time. I'm joking.
That's Chuck Lorre. So these red pill guys are basically agreeing with what the incels say and using it to their advantage.
Okay.
To game people, to game women. They're called pickup artists. You see PUA written here a lot. And it's pickup artists. Yeah, is what they're called as well.
Yeah.
So then we got the black pill, the worst pill of all. Black pill philosophy accepts the unequal society proposed by the red pill, but rejects the idea that one can game the system to their advantage. It interprets sexual rejection as a matter of female prejudice and that unattractive, genetically inferior men will never access sexual or romantic relationships in the current dating and sexual milieu. I don't know what that means. Well, I do. I can kind of guess.
Climate, kind of.
So no amount of personality, charisma, or gym maxing, working out in the gym, can change a black pilled incel's fate. They're genetically inferior. It's hopeless and inescapable. Incels who have swallowed the black pill often describe themselves as doomed with no other option but to lay down and rot. So that's what LDAR stands for on their message board.
Is there a reason that they're making up words for things that already have words? Like gym maxing, working out in the gym.
But see, you're looking at it the wrong way. Working out in the gym is just something you do. Gym maxing is admitting you're not an attractive man, then going to the gym to try and maximize your chances with the opposite sex by maximizing how you look. You're trying to, it's what look maxing is.
Like Andrew Tate.
Yeah. The idea is that if I change enough about me, I can attract you.
Okay.
That, right, I might have an ugly face, but I can have a great body. I might be losing my hair, but my muscles are huge. Do you know?
Okay.
That kind of thing. And it gets worse.
Okay.
When I tell you what they do to try and fix these things. The black pill argues that most women are hardwired to prefer certain physical features, such as strong jawlines and cheekbones. They will never have sex with incels.
Can I just stop you there and point out that I do think that that does happen, and not to make an excuse for it. I'm not saying it happens all of the time, but there is a reason that horses are very strong, majestic animals. It's because it's survival of the fittest. Like it's.
Oh, but see, this is what they think we're doing. This is what they believe is happening. That's the doomed side of all this.
All right.
They believe that the rest of the population is working against incels, and by making them incels, it's a way of breeding out the ugly out of our society.
I understand, but if that happened 100% of the time, like they think it is, well, then they wouldn't have been born at all. Like, do you know that kind of way? Because true. No, because by their I know, but by their thinking, if you're just if if the best looking people are getting with the best looking people to weed out the ugly people, like, I mean, do you know, it doesn't make everything that it just seems like everything just seems like a fucking contradiction.
Well, that's it. And there's no real talking to them about it because they have this black pill mentality, this lay down.
And again, I don't think that everybody goes by that survival of the fittest thing, but I do understand why it would be a natural predisposition because
but you know the way I see it, the way I think it is. Yes, what they're saying, there is a portion of the population who are like that. But it's probably the same size of a portion that are also incels.
Probably.
They're not the dominant fucking people here. They are a small... It's basically... It's like them getting upset because... I don't know. They fucking flirted with fucking Megan Thee Stallion and she said no. It's like, yeah, you're kind of out of her league.
A lot of people flirt with Megan and she said
look,
no. I'd say she has a standard.
I'm a confident guy, but I don't think I'd have much of a chance flirting with her. I mean, I might.
Would you chance it?
Of course I would.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, why not?
Thanks, Josh. No money. Shoot your shot, man. In fairness.
You miss all of the shots you don't take, Amy.
Okay. Why don't you say that to them?
Huh?
Just say that to them. Just go onto the board and be like, guys, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't
take. Will tell you, and this is the God's honest truth. You know the way I am, where I can find... I have a problem with finding broken people and trying to fucking help them at times.
You're too nice to a lot of people.
Socially broken people. Not people who are down there, but just people who are having fucking younger people than me who are having fucking trouble, and I try to be a fucking role model for
and
them.
Sometimes it works out and sometimes they're just
fucking
shits afterwards.
No. I can count 3 people I've done this for and I am 0 for 3 at the moment. So, I mean, but I would, I mean, if there's an incel out there that's listening to us right now who's lasted an hour of us shitting on them, if there's one out there that can hear my voice, that lives somewhere relatively close to County Kerry in Ireland.
Not in this house, they're not.
I will fucking try in school. I'll teach you. I'm not great. I have not in no way a Chad or anything like that. I don't just get it. But I will come to me and I will mentor you into being a better person. I will find a way. I'll give you a bath. I'll give you a haircut. We'll cut those nails.
If you're a 0 for 3 at the moment, Josh, this is a bad idea because you.
Well, no, I'm 0 for 3 because I usually try and help people addicted to drugs and people who are fucking addicted to lying and people who have no fucking loyalty at all to me. That's different. This is just someone that's not getting laid. I can manage that. I mean, hang out with me for a few weeks. I guarantee you I'll change your mindset. And that's the thing. You just need
if he doesn't get you laid, he'll get you a prostitute. So.
That too. I know the website. And we won't have to do this. This is what's called looksism. So, I mean, on top of it, I'm not going to read all this, right? But, oh man, yeah, Icel. I forgot about that one. An Icel is someone who feels their eyes fail to meet the looksism standard.
Oh my God, a wrist cell?
Yeah, wrist cell is what they call it.
They believe their wrists are too small. Does that mean though?
That's what we were talking about earlier.
I know, but I didn't think there was a word for it. So does that mean that like, is it a thing that like, oh shit, my wrists are too small, so the rest of me must be too small, as in like physically, as in like their whole frame, right? Like,
I told you this already. When I was on all these message boards and I was on Reddit and stuff like that, some of these guys would post pictures of themselves. They are not bad looking people.
Do you think that it's undiagnosed body dysmorphia with some of them?
Oh, 100%. Well, bullying, I'd say a lot of it is down to bullying. I would say a lot of
brainwashed to have like a shit view of themselves when they look in the mirror from bullying.
Well, everybody's shitting on them, so you're going to fucking have a shit view of the world, like, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if you have no friends, it's harder again.
There's nobody there to bring you up when you're down. Like,
you know, I mean, like, I was bullied in primary school. And it's not the nice. I mean, I had one good friend in primary school that I hung out with all the time.
Yeah.
And so I could see where they're coming from that point of view, right? But then I got to secondary school and it did change for me in a sense because there was like, I had 3 or 4 friends who were all the same mindset as me, but no one would bully me at that stage because I shot up. I was big. I was as big as I am now.
Yeah.
You know, so you just didn't fuck with me. So that kind of got me out of that fucking problem. But it's not as easy for other people in that sense. So they're the kind of people I feel sorry for.
Yeah.
People who had this hard time and they're just stuck in this rut. I feel like they need to, there should be some sort of a fucking class, some sort of a fucking, not like these stupid things you see in sitcoms, like Family Guy where fucking Quagmire's teaching them all how to pick up women and stuff like that. Not a pickup class, but just a fucking
self-help.
A self-improvement kind of thing.
Yeah,
but they won't make that's the thing, they won't. No point in putting on an olive branch unless somebody's going to grab the other end. Do you know?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. These guys don't want...
Need to be open to it. Yeah.
And then there's my favourite one, the small people, which they call manlets. Anyone under 6 foot, you're a manlet.
Right. Well, it's the wrist cell that's getting to me. I just need to know more about this wrist cell. What is the problem with the fucking wrists?
I would assume that if your wrist is small, it kind of maybe shows you're not strong.
Oh.
That would be my guess. Strength. Is it a strength thing?
This test determines if you're a wrist cell or not by measuring your JPS, jerks per second, and jerk velocity by using your phone sensors. I just typed wrist cell into Google.
No, look, I will give them one thing here. One small thing. There is a good portion of women who do prefer tall guys. I don't think that I don't think being short fucking cuts you out of the sexual fucking pool, like, you know.
Oh no, I know loads of short people that.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I will say, if you ask a girl her preference, it is usually, and I mean, if you're an incel and you're living your life online on the internet, then yeah, I mean, you're looking at these TikTok fucking influencer girls. They put that shit up in their fucking stuff a lot, like, you know. And if you're going on Tinder, if all of your idea of women and dating is all based online, then I can see how you would be tricked into believing that this is a fact. Because a lot of women on Tinder will say, if you're, like I said, not 6 foot, packing 6 inches, don't bother. So these guys instantly feel inferior because they're not that tall, right? But that's again, you're living online and you're going for a select few. And then you have to remember that the women's profiles that you're stopping on, maybe they're not the right fucking women for you, and you're just stopping based on looks as well. You're not picking these women on Tinder based on their personality. The same way
you've got a population of men that are pricks, you're going to have a population of women that are bitches.
I'm talking about them right now.
I know it.
So how do incels communicate? We don't need to read that. It's all online in communities. Websites. I've been on one. It's not nice. Are incels violent? So this is where it gets a bit trickier.
Sorry. The wrist cell thing. I understand it now.
It is a strength thing, yeah?
Yeah, it's that thickness itself is a rough measurement of the thickness of one's bones and therefore the robustness of one's frame in general.
Cool.
That's what it is. Sorry. That really annoyed me. I just didn't understand it.
So when it comes to violence, they say there's 3 basic tiers: personal, interpersonal, and societal.
Yes. Yeah.
Personal violence is self-directed by incels through acts of self-harm, suicidal ideation, or suicide. Interpersonal violence is violence between the incel and another individual, including physical assaults or murderers targeting women, violence towards sex workers, and just basically picking on women. Societal violence is directed towards society as a whole. So like the guy we talked about earlier on. Oh, it's right here. Toronto, 2018. Alex Minasin. So he drove a fucking car into a bunch of
exactly like in people. Yeah.
But then they become what is called, so they're societal violence. And they become what is called, they're sainted by the incels. So when they talk about this guy, it'll be Saint Alex. They'd never refer to him as just Alex. It would be disrespectful. It's Saint Alex. And they'll superimpose his face onto like saint pictures and religious pictures and stuff like that. Same with Elliot Rodgers.
Saint Elliot.
Yeah, he's Saint Elliot to them. And they're fucking crazy about him. Do you know what's funny though? And it's just a coincidence again. I was listening to last podcast last week and they brought, this guy came up in it for a second. Like just a passing kind of thing. They were talking about Elliot Rodgers. And they pointed out that this fucker it was rather a Porsche or a Ferrari. And they were like, if you have a Porsche, we'll say it's a Porsche. It was like, if you have a Porsche in fucking, was it Miami he lived in or LA, and you're not getting laid, buddy, there's something wrong with you.
he was on the red carpet though. You were telling me this. He actually had an all right. I mean, like his mother would have had connections, like when from going out with kind of.
I watched a few of his videos, and I think it was just down to the way his personality and the way he talked. Yeah. I mean, like when I saw the video I saw, he was like, why would you want to be with that Bruce when you could be with me and I'd take care of you and I'd hug you and kiss you? I was like, oh.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Because again, look, I don't think woke people want to hear this, right? And I know that's going to get me in trouble by just saying that.
Did you just do bunny ears?
Fucking hate this fucking shit, right? I don't think we need a name for it, like, you know?
For being decent. Yeah.
I only did like hearing this. But we were talking earlier on about how men probably DNA-wise are more horny than fucking women in the sense of we're just kind of genetically pushed to go out there and spread seed from fucking thousands and thousands of years ago. Now we've evolved to the point where we can...
You're civilized.
Yeah, we can do it civilized.
Most of you.
But I would say, like when he's giving out, oh, why do you want to be with that brute when you can be with me? And you even shriveled up a little bit and I fucking kind of... But I do believe that, yeah, women are looking for strong men a lot of the time. There are women out there that want sensitive, quiet, nice men and all that stuff. But there is a big population of women who want men to be able to protect them.
Exactly, a natural protector. The same way as it would be in the wild, like if we're still running around in fucking loincloths.
But just another thing I saw, and it's kind of like, at the same time, then men have this kind of fucked up idea of what women actually fucking want, because I was looking at this article that was written about how men kind of don't trust, especially incel men, won't trust women when they say what they actually fucking want. And there was a picture, it was Ollie Moore's. And he had a picture of himself up, and it was a before and after he did this 6-week fucking workout thing. And in the second picture, he was really, really ripped and all that kind of shit, right? And most of the women commenting on it were like, well, I prefer Ollie in the first picture.
I prefer Ollie when he was on X Factor because he had a nice personality. Do you know, I always think that Ollie Moore's was quite an attractive man. Like.
He wasn't ripped, but he wasn't fat either. Like, he was just in shape. He was just in regular shape. Like, this is just, you know, when they take the extra thing. And then women were like, why can't men just believe us when we say this is what we want? We want a little cushion on a guy because we want to be hugged. That's the picture. Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Oh, I prefer Ollie before that. Fair fucking play to him. It's an achievement.
But that's what a lot of women said. It was like, fair play to you. It's a great achievement. Yeah. And if you want to do that to be helped. But when all the women said, when I look at those two pictures, my reaction to the second picture is that I won't be able to have fun with this man. I won't be able to cuddle into this guy. I won't be able to have fun in the kitchen with this guy. We'll be constantly working around his gym routine, and he'll be so gym focused that it'll take away from everything. Whereas the first version of him,
he has a kinder face. His face is brighter from the smile.
And there's something there to fucking cuddle into. Is a big one, they all said.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there is a reason a few years ago, like they'd said, you know, the dad bod was in.
And then all the women were, or all the men that were commenting on it were very incel-y comments, but it was all kind of the attitude, oh, women are only fucking saying that because they can't get him now. Or these are women who wouldn't be able to get him in that shape or can't get in that shape. Oh no, the big one is women don't like men to be in that shape, or women who say they don't like men to be in that shape are women who don't want to be shown up. Because if he's in that shape, then fuck it. No, you have to get into that fucking shape. Otherwise, all the attention will go to him when you walk into a room. And why the fuck would you want that? You want all the attention on you. So that's why women are hating on his second picture and not his first picture, because the second picture will take away attention from the woman. And the woman should always be the main attraction and attention physically. And that then they start to rationalize that that's why women go for uglier men as well, because it takes the attention off of it. It makes the woman look hotter.
It's so funny.
And it means you don't have to work as hard. If the guy is going there and going to the gym to look perfect every day, and well, no, the woman's got to do the same thing to try and fucking hit it. So no, you got to work hard at it. So why bother?
I think the second picture for me personally, he would have to work harder to get me to go out and sit down and have a drink. The first picture, he looks like a very friendly. I mean, he looks friendly in both of them, but there's just something about that first picture. There's more of a spark. It looks like he'd be more relatable. Like,
see, the thing about it is, I think as well, there's like you said, the first guy looks like he'd go and have a drink with you and have a bit of a laugh. Whereas
the second guy looks like he's going to have me up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go for a jog with him.
Yeah. And if you do go for a drink, he'll be counting the calories in every pint.
In his zero beer.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with it, but
fucking zero beer.
Make me eat
Jacking
celery.
Off a drink,
the first man that makes me eat fucking celery. I love you, but I'm never eating celery.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Thank you.
The interpersonal violence then would be like them loving guys like serial killers who are actively going out there putting women in their place, in their view.
Sorry, say that again.
So interpersonal violence would be the incels going out hurting people, do you know?
Okay.
Like in this case, here's the case. Now they'd rave about serial killers because they're, you know, doing all that kind of shit, you know. But here's one, right? And it's tagged Life Fuel. And this is as well. They have Life Fuel based, just fucking laughing out loud. They have all these little acronyms, Life Fuel based, FLO, they're just stupid. So this was a Life Fuel post. Angry incel punches pregnant Stacey in the stomach. An angry, balding incel decides to take mini retribution on a Stacey carrying Chad's baby. He bravely and valiantly attempts to rid the world of a potential Chad bully to save future incels from torment. I hereby anoint him a holy warrior monk of the Church of Inceldom. These are the kind of stuff they fucking be putting on their message boards.
I have that. Jesus Christ. Pregnant woman punched in stomach and grabbed by hair in London Underground platform and shocking Finsbury attack. And this guy
you have a picture of the guy?
So this is in 2018.
No. Fuck. I was curious.
He then approached her from behind. What a fucking coward.
Move, yeah.
Coward.
So personal violence and discussions of suicide. So they're constantly, like, that's the problem here, right? When they start talking about suicide, there's no one in these message boards saying, oh no, don't do that. It's, yeah, you should do that. This is the best ways to kill yourself. Here are some websites to teach you how to do it. They'll egg you on. Like, they'll be like, yeah, go for it, man. Fuck Jesus. It. Why live in this doomed world?
I wonder if they went to Sweden with the new suicide machine, would they be like welcomed, or would they be like, fuck off?
Well, you got to pass fucking mental. It's like, yeah, it's like fucking shit. So we already talked about the Saint stuff. I'm not going to get into Elliot Rodger again.
We're not going to give him,
fucking pussy. There's a bunch of them here. Mark Lepin, what did he do? Canadian who murdered 14 women and wounded 10 more in a 1989 shooting in Montreal.
There's a whole list of
Alex Missanen, Scott Burrett. You know, I don't really want to talk about any of these guys, to be honest. Oh, yeah. This is interesting here. Are incels connected to other violent extremists?
But that's not a bad looking guy. I'm sorry. I'm just going through the list.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not. It's all in their fucking head. Like, so, like, when it comes to violent extremists, they'll do stuff like their avatars online will be like Pepe the Frog dressed in a balaclava and wearing a headband with the slogan Qassam Brigade, an armed faction of Hamas. Another avatar is Dylan Roof, an American white supremacist responsible for the murder of 9 people in 2015, and obviously our friend Ed Kemper.
Is Ed Kemper? Is he incel?
Does
he fall into that?
I mean,
I thought it was just his mom he had, like, he hated.
Yeah, but he wasn't sleeping with anybody. He stopped killing for a while when he had a girlfriend.
Oh, he was in it.
And he killed specifically women of his age. He's the co-ed killer. His mom was just the last straw, like, you know?
Okay.
She had kind of led him to hate on it. No, again, that is shit upbringing and all that kind of stuff as well. Like, it kind of fucks you over. So there are storm cells. Storm cells are what you expect them to be, white supremacist fucks.
So not bad weather.
No, I wish. Jihad maxing. That's where they will tell Muslims and stuff like that the best way for them to get women is to go and join an all jihad group, because, well, women are kind of forced, or move over to that area of the world where the women are kind of forced.
Oh, is that why you see like Englishmen going over? And remember, there was a Jihadi Jane. No. So that was a woman that went over and joined it from England. I mean, like,
there was a woman from Ireland that did that as well. She's a jail low.
Oh yeah, she was, but this woman was like an extremist. I mean, like violent extremist. Well, no, this
is telling like Arab and Muslim incels that the easiest way for them to definitely get sex
is to have a culture where
go join one of these groups, these jihad groups, and you know that'll win it for you.
Do they tell them that because it's when they die they're going to get 40 virgins if they do as they're told?
That's so fucking dumb, isn't it?
Fuck me.
I wouldn't mind. Could you just give me like 40 retired or 40 fucking porn stars that died? I'd be happier with that than 40 virgins.
Do you know what would a gorgeous brownie point?
40 women that know what they're fucking doing would be great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 40 of you would be amazing.
People I gotta teach. Fuck. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
I mean, imagine that. The first 40 women you ever get to sleep with and all they're saying is, ow, ow, ow. Are you sure you know what you're doing? Ow.
40 changes of bed sheets as well. Jesus Christ.
Why? Is there a lot of blood and stuff?
Didn't happen to me, but apparently a lot of girls, when they lose their virginity, there is blood. but after the hymen is broken. But I did a lot of horse riding when I was younger, and it's very easy to break that bit of skin if you're horse riding or going over bumps on bikes and stuff like that. So this whole thing in the Middle Ages of like having your daughter looked at, bullshit, because they rode loads of horses the whole fucking time. So what would happen to that poor girl, and she's there like fucking telling everybody, I'm a virgin, like marry me. Do you know, as in like I can get married, and they're like, no,
you horse.
Back into the fucking convent for you.
But it's all fucking ridiculous in my eyes. I don't ever think I was with a virgin. I wasn't knowingly with any virgin. Nobody ever told me they were a virgin before I slept with them. Yeah, sure.
Too. No, I wasn't. No, not me. I'm saying I had. I swear. No, I'm joking. Thanks, Josh.
Come on. All right, so we have a quick look at this before we finish up, right? Because there's some terms here that, especially for parents that might hear this and want to keep an eye on what your kids are on online, these are good things to know.
Yeah.
And some of them are just funny, and some of them are ridiculous. So I'm not going to go through all of them because we have hit a few of them already, but some of the funnier ones that we haven't hit. So 2D is greater than 3D. That is the belief that 2D girlfriends with which are AI chatbots, female anime or video game characters, are better than 3D girlfriends.
Because
and that is only said by people. Well, no, that's only said by people who do not have 3D girlfriends.
This happens in Japan. Do you see the guy that married the hologram?
Yeah. How many women do you think were lining up to take him out that week?
Oh no, but I'm saying it happens a lot, and that's because of his life. Like, he was out to work, and then he was back to his 1 meter by 1 meter fucking apartment. Like, it's a huge problem in Japan that a lot of young people aren't getting to go out and socialize, and they're not getting to because of the culture over there.
But I was only thinking about that today because I saw a thing that the Vintners Association are trying to get the government to literally lower prices by like 40% to try so that they can save the rural pub. And I was only thinking, I was like, they're not wrong. I mean, I can't afford to go out like I used to. I mean, when we were younger, I could go out and I could go crazy for the fucking whole weekend and still probably have a little bit of money in my pocket. Now the idea of one night out is like,
but I was only thinking that the other day. I mean, like, our parents,
they're aging where they
went. That's where they went and like hung out with their friends. And it wasn't that they come back shit-faced every evening, but it was a social gathering. Like, and now we can't afford to. Like, where the fuck do you go to? Like, look, Danny Healy-Rae and Michael Healy-Rae, they have a point when they talk about these things.
Every fucking time the budget comes around, they add another 50 fucking pence to 50 cent to the fucking price of it. Like, so
you can't even go and enjoy tuna without losing a tenner. Do you know, a tenner is a lot at this day and age.
At this point, within the next 10 years in Ireland, drinking will be for the elite only. Pubs will be for rich people. The rest of us will just have to drink at home, and that's it, like, Or
else there's going to be a lot of societal problems where the people that can't afford to drink, it's going to be like fucking Victorian London on the streets. They're just going to dig themselves into a drink, and it's going to get shitty for their families, and it's going to get shitty.
Do you know what? Now we have two good ideas, right? First good idea, video app dating. And second good idea, what if you
start a she-bean?
No, but similar to that, but without the alcohol laws, right? Bring your own fucking drink. We'll give you a place to socialise. We'll provide music, pool tables, dartboards, seats, and all that crap, but we can't sell you the drink. We're not going to sell drink. That's not here. There's a cover charge to come in. That's it.
Do you need a licence for that? No.
You're not selling drink.
That's true.
I mean, do you need a licence to sit here and have a fucking pint?
No, and there's actually quite a few restaurants I've been in that is, do you know why they can sell wine?
Bring your own wine?
Exactly. Like, but if you want beer and stuff like that, you go across the road to Tesco and you bring it in. They don't even charge a corkage anymore. And it's to get people through the door.
But could be a way out of it, I suppose. The off license do. But then all they'll start doing is pumping up the prices on the off license. Until we're fucking priced out of that as well.
And what happened with this late opening club scene? Because that never fucking happened.
I don't know. Once COVID passed, they just fucking ignored it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 80-20 rule, we've already talked about that. AOC is the age of consent. I mean, that's not a
pretty
big thing.
self-explanatory.
So ascend, this is one we haven't talked about yet. To ascend is to leave inceldom and access sex with a woman. This sex must not be paid for. Also, there are escort cells as well. So escort cells have not ascended.
It sounds like a whole religion. It sounds like what's supposed to happen to you in Buddhism. Like, you reach cult. Nirvana, you ascend to fucking hell.
So certain people can ascend, is what they call it. And that's usually when you're moving from the black pill to the red pill. Not that you're moving out of it altogether. You're not going back to blue pill. you are going from black to red.
And do they have congratulatory ceremonies? Because it sounds like a very kind of ascending. Oh, it's a bad thing.
Pills, I'd hate you for it. It's like you're giving false hope to the rest of us. What are you doing? You know, you were never really a black pill.
I wonder they have no fucking friends. They can't even support fucking each other. Like,
but this is the thing. The way they see it is, once it gets to black pill, your eyes are open. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Do you know? That's the way they look at it. You now know this stuff. You now believe it to be fact. You have to lie to yourself to go backwards. Is the way they'd believe it. And if you were good enough looking to ascend, then you're not a real incel. You're just a good looking guy who didn't take care of himself for a while and snapped the fuck out of it. Okay. You were never really one of them. Do you know?
You're a traitor.
So there's no real hope. Black pill has to be no hope. Like atomic black pill. Sometimes referred to as the nuclear black pill. The atomic black pill is any fundamental proof that women are shallow and are exclusively attracted to male physical traits. It includes black pill science experiments. For example, Tinder profile screenshots showing flirtations between women and a conventionally attractive male profile, despite him having the phrase convicted 3 times for rape of a child in his bio. Now, I don't believe that one little bit.
No.
Not one little bit.
No, and I do believe that if the woman was flirting with him, the woman probably has, as in like some dark fucking skeletons in her closet as well.
Most likely. I mean, if you had convicted 3 times of robbery, maybe. I mean, yeah, some women do like a bad boy. But
depends what they're robbing.
But rape of a child, I don't think so. I think that profile would most likely get flagged and taken down very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So, AWOLT, acronym for all women are like that. An assumption that all women are driven by the same essential female nature which drives their mating behavior. Based, the act of not caring about others' opinions or being politically correct. Incels are often praised for being base, so it's the opposite of woke. The term originally referred to someone addicted to smoking crack cocaine, so I don't know how it ended up here. I've heard of people freebasing. I never really knew what it was.
Freebasing. Yeah. What does that mean? Okay.
I'm not 100%. I think it's smoking crack.
It is, but it's that's what it is. Nah. That's what it is.
I don't know.
No, I think so.
I've never been around anyone with crack. I've never been around.
It to me like that before.
I think I had to Google it.
Oh.
Beta orbiter. So a beta orbiter is a man who spends a significant amount of time with a woman, feigning interest in her ideas and opinions in an effort to date her. So this is what I was saying I wouldn't want our boys to be. I think that is wrong as well. It's not just... You need to find someone on the same level as you.
You do, but there's nothing wrong with finding somebody attractive and saying, I want to connect with them. Yeah. So I'm going to be in... I never watched fucking wrestling. I mean, okay, I did when I was younger.
I've never seen a period drama in my life.
Yeah. but I mean, like, because we care about each other, we take interest in each other's interests.
I'll be honest, when you first came to me and said you wanted to watch a period drama, I was like, this is going to be fucking depressing. A drama about a woman on her period.
Did you think that's what it was?
I never heard of it before.
What do you think I was going to watch? Just like a fucking movie centered around 5 shit days of the month. You hear about these
vagina monologues and stuff like that where women are talking about their vagina as if they're their vagina and stuff like that. I just didn't know what they expect.
Well, I know what ones you like and I know what ones you wouldn't like. So the ones that I know you definitely have no interest in, I'll watch my own. Like, yeah.
So what the fuck happened with The Favourite?
I was just thinking that. You see, The Favourite, if you had watched more period dramas, it's kind of, it's historic. It is historic, but it's also parts of it are kind of like satire, like that dance. And you're like, did they all dance like that? That was kind of like a satirical kind of, yeah.
So beta bucks we've already mentioned, but there's a bit more on here. So any man who is not a Chad, who's in a relationship with a woman, the woman only settles for the beta bucks either after they have hit the wall and can no longer access sex with Chads, or if they are secretly continuing to have sex with Chads while with a beta bucks. Women seek out beta bucks men for financial support.
But you see, my argument there is that if we have hit the wall, as in, and I think you've said it before, so like, do you know, like when I get to 40, I would hope that men my age would find 40-year-olds attractive. And I think if like men my age found an 18-year-old attractive, there's something fucking wrong. It needs, your taste needs to evolve.
I always kind of thought of it in the sense of, like, even going back to school, right? Primary school. When you're in 6th year and you look at the first years, they look fucking tiny. Like, and they might as well be in infants class.
All secondary school look like babies to me.
But then I just assumed, because then obviously those first years you have no attraction. But then like fucking 3 years later, or whatever, 6 years later, or we'll say the third years and the 6 years, and 3 years later, you're in college and they come into first year of college, suddenly it's for a game, it's like they're looking hot. But that's because they've had time to mature and stuff like that, and it's not that much time in the thing. But as well as that, I agree with you on the idea as well that, you know, it should be a case of, like, I see guys like Ric Flair, and I love Rick. But you see guys like Ric Flair going on about chasing women in their 20s, and I'm like, Rick, you're dude, you're nearly fucking, you're in your 70s. A 40-year-old is young to you. Do you know what I mean? And I always thought that I actually liked that idea. I was like, imagine how cool it's going to be when I'm like in my 70s going, woohoo, at the 40-year-olds passing, you know?
Realistically, I mean, if you're in your 70s chasing after an 18-year-old, you could be that person's great-grandfather.
They have to look like a child to you at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Because like we said, when you're in 6th year and you're looking at the first year, they look like fucking little kids to you. Like, you know, so I mean, that logic has to be there somewhere. I don't know. And on top of this, it's like you said, there's constant contradiction here, and they're kind of boxing themselves out of the game then as well. If they believe that the only women that are any way eligible are 17 to 25, and all these incels are only chasing 17 to 80 to 25-year-old virgins, it's going to be a tough time for you, buddy, because I'd hate to break it to you, but 17 to 25, probably the time in life where you're going to do the most fucking in your life. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, if ever you're going to walk around and slut around the place, both men and women, it's going to be 17 to 25.
That's the joke, isn't it? That women experiment in college age.
But, you know,
but I would also say that most women these days, as in like they're still in education, 17 to 25, so they're not having baby. Do you know that kind of way? We're not settling down that young anymore. I know that we did.
I did it right.
I
got a 23-year-old when I was 25.
You got a 22-year-old.
I was 25.
Oh, high five, Josh.
Fuck yeah. Chatting to the max. And I still had hair back then as well, so hey.
Both had a hair. And you owned a tattoo studio.
So I had money, bitch.
Did
she
you?
Caught me.
Really?
Nabbed me, she did. Blue pill, we already talked about that. So this is one I do want to bring up. Bone smash theory. The notion that bones grow when exposed to repeated trauma. This is a violent method of looks maxing used by incels to change their physical appearance.
So fucking stupid, because a well-healed fracture isn't going to grow.
They're repeatedly doing it.
I know, but what I mean is you might be making the bone bigger, but to make the bone bigger, the fracture isn't healing properly. So you're going to cause yourself long-term pain. You are like.
Yeah, when I saw this on that documentary, the guy that was telling him about it literally had like a ball peen hammer with him.
A what?
A ball peen.
Oh, just with the thing at the end, yeah.
And he was describing, he's like, yeah, you want better cheekbones, just hit yourself with the hammer with the cheekbones. You need your jaw bigger, you hit your jawbone.
If you're going to that much trouble, just go and get your fucking jawline chiseled. Exactly. Go have your fucking jaws. I mean, they can shave down the bone to make them more angular.
Which would mean they'd have to go out and get a job and do shit and interact with people.
And again, if they got a job, they'd probably, because it seemed like they're, not that they're making money, but that they have a spark of life in them, that they have a bit of fucking ambition, that they want to go places. It's not that you have to get somewhere in life.
But nobody wants to fucking hang out with the guy that's not. I mean, like, imagine if every fucking evening you finished work, you came down this, because you work from home, so you work up in the bedroom, and dirty slut.
Sometimes I work in the kitchen though.
Where she's supposed to be. But imagine if you're upstairs all fucking day busting your ass, right? Yeah. And all you want to do is come down and hang out with me and socialize. And you come down the stairs and the house is in a fucking state. There's fucking dirt everywhere. I've been eating and drinking shit all day. The cans are thrown next to me. There's wrappers everywhere. And I'm sitting there in my underwear playing video games. And that's everything. Not just a once in a while fucking thing. Because I know once in a while you'd be like, you do you, it's fine. You know, you deserve it. I'm going to go off and I might do the same thing later on. And, you know, and that's cool. But if that's every fucking day and that's all I'm going to do until I go to sleep that night, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and do the same thing and pay you no attention.
Where is the conversation and where is the bonding? Where is the quality time?
Even if you can find a girl to fucking trick a girl into being with you for the first couple of fucking weeks, eventually she's going to turn around and see the shit side of you and walk away.
But the penny's going to drop, as in, where does this go? As in, if this turns into a long-term relationship and we have kids, this is going to be my life. I am adding 2 more kids onto this kid. Do you know that kind of way?
And those 2 kids will be around this very fucking toxic person.
Exactly.
Do you know?
Exactly. Like,
they'll grow up to not respect me. They'll grow up to not respect, you know, in your sense, like, they're not going to respect their mother. They're not going to respect women. And if the father doesn't respect the mother, who's going to, like I said, we made a boob joke when we were kids. My dad hit us a slap across the head and tell us to respect women because it was disrespectful to talk like that in front of my mother and my sister. Do you know?
Yeah.
So there's catfishing is next. Creating a fake social media profile for the purpose of abusing or defrauding an individual online. Now, this one pisses me off because I told you about, when we tried to record this last time, I told you about this Mr. Catfish guy. Yeah. And he is the worst of the fucking worst of them. Because when he was asked straight up, if you had a girlfriend, would you still be catfishing these women? You're like, nah, probably not. And he had a girlfriend for 4 years that ended with him in jail and a restraining order. So that means he's just an abusive piece of shit. But he would make these fake profiles, chat to the women, get them to send nudes to him. He'd send fake nudes back to them that he got online. And then he'd organize to meet them. And then when he'd meet them in a public place, he'd come running up to them and he's like, you're here to meet this guy. You really think this male model wants to fuck your fat ass, you fucking stupid slut. Look at all the slutty shit you've been sending me, you fuck. I bet you don't deserve a guy, you whore. Get the fuck out of here, you dirty fuck. I'm just waiting for one of these women to pull out a gun and pop this fucking cunt. He is a stupid fucking asshole who does not deserve to be touched by anybody, let alone a fucking woman.
I know it's different now with AI, but I think that if you are online dating, you should always Google reverse search the image. Yeah. Always, before you trust to meet anybody.
But anybody that contacts us online that I don't know, I Google them first. The first thing I'll do. I'll take your fucking profile picture and I will, if you haven't, because you're obviously not sending me pictures, you just might message me about some. We get a lot of messages from companies wanting to fucking give us free shit. And they're never, because they pay shipping.
It's never the same profile. They're always redirecting you to a different profile.
But as soon as I see just pay the shipping, I'm like, no, fuck off.
No.
And if it's something I really fucking like the look of, I'll go and I'll Google it. It's the first thing but even down to fucking buying stuff on, because I buy a lot of clothes online. I buy you a lot of clothes online and stuff like that. If I see something nice and I see the company, I will go and fucking Google them first and see what everyone's reviews are about them before I go give them my fucking money, because common fucking sense. People can fake this shit these days, you know? Yeah. But this guy's case, and I hope he can, if he's still alive out there, I hope he's not. I hope the fucking dopey cunt fucking got shot by one of these women and killed. But Mr. Catfish, if you're still out there, fuck you, you prick. There's Chadam, obviously we talk about. Chad fishing. What's Chad fishing? A form of catfishing where incels create dating profiles using images of conventionally attractive men. It is usually used to prove that women... Oh, right, it's the same thing.
Was his name Roger?
His face was blocked for all of it. I don't know.
Was it the BBC documentary you watched?
It was a CNN one, I think. I did watch the BBC one as well, I think. Maybe I think the BBC were the ones that made it, yeah.
Okay.
Is that his name? Is that him there?
No, sorry.
No, he was heavier than that.
No, I'm just curious to see what did happen to him.
I'm sure if you looked up Mr. Catfish, you'd find him. I'm pretty sure he used to put all his stuff on social media and shit.
I wonder how long he's lasted on social media. These two are really the first. Oh, apparently there is Incels on Catfish, the TV show. We should have a look at that.
Yeah, we'll check it out. Anyway, hang on. We keep going here because we're running out of time now and we still got more to do tonight. So the cheerleader effect. I've heard this one before. Where they believe that a good-looking woman will put herself... Oh, no, sorry. The belief that women in groups appear more attractive than they are individually.
Because, and I reckon that is because of, like, pheromones. So you have, like, instead of, like, one person with those that coming towards you, you have maybe, like, say, 20 people with giving off those pheromones coming towards you. So you're receiving those and you're looking at the most attractive one, and you know, the one that catches your eye the most, not necessarily the most attractive one.
Cock carousel. The concept that women in their 20s ride the cock carousel, jumping from man to man before settling down on the less attractive male in their 30s. The cock carousel.
I have never seen a cock carousel.
Sounds like fun, right? Cucks. We all know what cucks are. From the word cuckold, cucks are men who are emasculated through their own behaviour. For example, by following blue pill or wage slaving for a society that oppresses them.
What's wage slaving?
Or working.
No
and if you're
wonder.
working for the man, then you're wage slaving.
Okay. Not everybody can be self-employed. Not everybody can run a business. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah, no, but that's still, you're paying taxes there if you're self-employed. Basically, if you're not exclusively getting all your money from like social, from the government and all that shit, then you're a wage slaver, and they'd look down on that because you're contributing to the machine that's contributing to their oppression.
Oh.
You know?
Okay.
So that's it. I mean, it all kind of adds up, doesn't it? Yeah. As to why they're not getting laid, but it's dog pill. See, and this is another reason why they're not getting laid. Dog pill. The incel belief that women are having sex with dogs and that they would prefer to do this over having sex with an incel. That's because, to be honest, dogs are actually decent fucking decent
dogs beings. Are decent people.
They're better human beings than incels. Well, where's our dog?
He's over there.
You haven't been touching my dog, have you?
No.
Fat fuel, material used for incels to masturbate. But isn't that for everybody? That's not just incels. Fat fuel is just...
I use the term wank bank.
Yeah, spank bank.
Spank bank, wank bank.
I prefer spank bank. Wank bank sounds dirty.
Okay, I'll say spank bank from now on. But I don't think, as in like when you do, you're not spanking anything, you're wanking.
What's a wank?
Masturbating.
Yeah, but I mean like... I know you're going literal with the spank.
Oh, is spanking another name for wanking?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You've never heard of spanking the
chicken?
Well, no, that's choking the chicken. I believe they call it. What do they call it?
Spanking the ham?
No, it is. Spank bank.
Wank bank. Okay.
There's another word for it. Anyway, FBI cells, that's where they believe there's FBI agents in their message boards pretending to be them, which they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
Plenty of their posts have been used as evidence against them.
So do you think that if like a woman came up to them, they'd have a genuine fear of, oh shit, this could be an FBI agent. This woman is talking to me. Why is she talking to me?
No, more of if you're asking maybe something weird on the message board to try and get information out of them, then they'd be like, well, FBI.
So those women, huh?
It's not so much a woman, no, because they think it was ridiculous from the outset that a woman would even come up and talk to them. So it would have to be someone posing as another incel.
Okay.
Femoid foid, a shortened version of feminoid, which is a combination of female and humanoid, a dehumanizing term suggesting women are not human. Oh, because humanoid is what? A robot?
I would agree with them. We're all fucking goddesses.
Yes. Game techniques used by pickup artists to manipulate women into having sex.
So you mean flirting?
Game.
Yeah, you have game. That's not a bad thing. He's got game.
You were talking about this earlier about the Giga Chad. Giga put in front of stuff like Giga Life Fuel or Giga Chad, Giga Stacy. Just basically a fucking
top cream of the cream, like yeah.
They call it the top 0.1% of men and women who have the ultimate physical attractiveness. Going ER, going Elliot Roger. It's a murder-suicide or a mass murder. Goy or Goyim. Oh, that's where they just rip on Jews.
A term for a non-Jewish person.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but it's derogatory towards Jews.
Oh, okay.
Jim Maxing, we've discussed that. Halo effect. The tendency to unconsciously view an attractive person as innocent and assign them positive characteristics such as honesty, talent, and intelligence. Now, I will say, right, I'm guilty of this. I see an extremely good-looking person, and you instantly kind of think, it could be bad. And then you get to know them a little bit, and you're like, this person's a fucking cunt. You know? And again, changes how they look to me physically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're watching TV and stuff like that, and you're watching these movies and stuff like that, you're instantly going for the slimy looking cunt is the bad person, not the gorgeous fucking person. Do you know?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes the opposite for women, though.
I think
that some women do have a toxic trait that when there is a very good looking woman, it is very easy for a group of girls to tear that girl down because of her looks. Like, so I do think that, you know.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying women treat good-looking women bad?
Not all of them. Yeah.
Wide strokes here. But see, because I would say the opposite goes for men as well. I don't think super attractive men get that same halo effect. I think because I've seen you react this way to men that I would have thought you'd be attractive to, and you're like, your instinct is there's something sleazy about them.
Yeah.
If they're overly good looking, you instantly go to sleazy. So I don't think you'd have that same halo effect. 2 ways. You can be either
sleazy or you could be too like baby faced, as in like maybe
too pristine.
Yeah, and then that pristiness makes you look a bit too immature for my liking, as in I want a man as well. Like I don't want someone that looks like they're fresh out of secondary school in their face.
Yeah, and then sometimes I
mean Johnny Depp kind of got sleazy in appearance up until a few months ago.
I think that from what I've gathered from it, and kind of the same way I would look at these guys is it's almost a little bit too feminine sometimes as well. Sometimes I think women are attracted when they think of a good looking guy, it's a rugged guy.
Perfect example for you, right? Travis Fimmel as Ragnar in Vikings, fucking unreal. Travis Fimmel, when he was doing the Calvin Klein ads, when he was like 19 or 20 and he was on the billboards in his boxers and the man caused car crashes. Too young looking in the face. He's a very attractive man still back then, like, but he was too young looking in the face. Like, but you shave his head and give him a beard, and that ruggedness is very attractive.
Okay, we're going to try and bang through a few of these quicker now because we're dragging on. So JB is jailbait. We've already kind of talked about that's basically a woman or a girl. It's not a woman. A girl who could be. No, the way this was described to me by the person that showed us the jailbait site that time.
You've already said his name.
For something different, wasn't it?
It was for the jailbait.
Anyway, the way it was explained to me, it was like, it's not. I kind of understand it. It was like, you're not looking on these jailbait sites for girls who look young or who have childish traits. It's more girls or 16-year-old, 17-year-old girls who have matured quicker. So they have traits about them that a man would find attractive in any woman, but because they're younger, that makes them jailbait. Because basically they have the body of an older woman, or not an older woman, but a more mature woman. The men that find
this attractive, even though you're saying that it's because these girls have the body of a mature woman, it's literally just the number that's attracting them. The age.
No. The point that was made to me that time was it would be more like, oh, look, that girl's hot. And then she turns on, you see her face and like, oh, shit. Because you were distracted by the body and then you didn't notice the face and then realize what age they were. Okay. You know? But when I looked at those jailbait pictures, when he was showing them to me, I was like, there's a lot of very young faces there. I think the face would distract me before their boobs would.
Yeah.
JBB, not to be confused with JB, which is jailbait, is just be black. Solution for all of you. So all of you who have incels out there, just be black. Problem solved. The suggestion that certain behaviors that allow you access to sex are only available if you are black, e.g. tug maxing. So
tug maxing.
Basically playing up the whole gangster rap stereotype as a black man is going to get you more women. But if a white guy comes in and plays the same thing, it's not going to work for him.
Oh, that's boy. Okay. Yeah. I'm just going to.
What's this? The JB pill, the jailbait pill. This is part of the pill terminology that refers to accepting that jailbait is an anti-male concept that prevents incels from accessing sex with prime-aged girls. No, you fucking sick cunt. JBW, just be white. The suggestion that certain behaviors are allowed to access sex only if you are white. Also known as C-maxing.
What's an example of that? Because I can't think of any example of that.
I don't know. Being a preppy little shit from with lots of money. I don't know. JFL, just fucking laughing out loud. So that's, I think, kind of when they're just them laughing at shit people that do.
I've seen JFL being written online before.
But I think they use it in more of a sarcastic tone. Like, fuck me, I can't believe this. I'm laughing my ass off. It's so crap bad. Like, you know. Jihad pill, we've already discussed. Jihad maxing, we've already discussed. This is so sad. KHHV. Kissless, hugless, handholdless virgin. Oh, I feel bad.
Is that them describing themselves?
Yeah. They've never been kissed. They've never been hugged. They've never been they've never held hands. They've never been touched.
So self-soothe, the new trend. You go like this in bed if you need to self-soothe if you've never been touched before.
I would say there is a country not far from here that completely allows you to go and do all this stuff. You could just give the women a few quid. They're happy about it. You're happy about it.
Oh, like a few countries that way.
From what I've been told, actually, I've never been into one of them because I went to Amsterdam with you.
Clinical though.
But yeah, that's
so if I wasn't there.
No. But yeah, the way it was described to me by people who have used it is there is no real touching. You lie down on the bed, she'll get tapped in, she'll do her business, and that's it.
I would imagine. I know that if personally myself, if I was working there, it would smell clinical because I'd need to disinfect the whole place every time. It would smell like you're walking into a doctor's office, I'd say.
And again, here's another reason why these fuckers aren't getting laid. They refer to overweight women as land whales. Yeah.
Yikes.
LARP, live action role play. We all know what that is. That's not an incel thing. That's normal people do that too. Mm-hmm. Lay down and rot. We've talked about that. Life fuel. That is a term that encourages incels to continue living. Now that might sound positive, but it's not. Life fuel, like we said earlier, is usually them seeing something terrible happening to normies and them getting the fuel to go on by seeing that shit things can happen to everybody else as well.
Okay.
Looks maxing we've discussed. Low T, that's low testosterone. Low tier, according to incel, a low tier normie is below average physical attractiveness. Okay. Male leader effect, same as a cheerleader effect, but with men. Manlet, we've discussed. Manosphere, we've discussed. Marcel, an incel who is married.
Oh, I thought it would be a French incel. Marcel.
Me too, to be honest. And how does the incel get married? And how is he an incel if he's married?
Maybe he's not getting any.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. MGTOW, men going their own way, a subsection of the manosphere who advocates for men withdrawing from romantic relationships with women, including refraining from having children other than through surrogacy, and enforce a strict gender hierarchy. This is more manosphere stuff now. Mogged. I know what a mog is.
I don't know what a mog is, but I know it's an insult.
Yeah. Fucking mog.
Or a term of endearment. You call me a mog before.
An act of dominating someone by being more physically attractive. One can be mogged on a variety of physical characteristics. So wrist mogged. Oh my God, they're obsessed with the wrists.
This is fucking bonkers, like.
But yeah, that's somebody coming in and basically stealing the girl from underneath you, I suppose. You're chatting up a bird and someone else comes in and takes over. You know, and you're like, not really. No. The girl just finds you more time. See, I'm a bit defensive here because I know I've done this once or twice. Not intentionally, but if I like a girl and I see her talking to another guy, to me, that's like, all right, it's a night out. There's only a certain amount of hours left in the night. And if this guy gets going with her, then I'm not going to have a chance. So I got to get over and get in there.
It happened in the Osborne one night before we were going out. It happened at the Osborne one night before we were going out. Before we were officially going out.
What?
That I met you in the Osborne one night, but I had gone with a friend, and then next thing it was just the two of us. A friend.
Money maxing, which is the same as all the other maxing, is just getting more money so that you can increase your sexual market value. That in itself kind of makes my skin crawl, this whole sexual market value thing.
Yeah.
MRA, men's right activists. This is a subsection in the manosphere focused on political and legal change that advances men's interests, such as reducing divorce settlements and child support payments as a solution to perceived oppression. We've been watching 2.5 Men a lot lately, and obviously a lot of that hasn't aged very well. I mean, there was a whole episode about Charlie being extremely homophobic for only on earlier on there. But sometimes when I see how Alan is treated, I do feel terrible for him. Like there was one episode where his ex is ringing him and she's like, the kid needs money for new shoes and the kid needs money for this trip and this kid needs money for this. And he's like, that's what I give you child support for, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, what are you doing with the child support money if you're not fucking buying him the stuff that you're supposed to be buying him? And then she just said, right, I'll get onto my lawyer and see how it goes. And he's like, fuck it, I'll pay it. And you can see how that could make someone snap. And then the men's rights activists, I kind of like it in the side of, I hate the fact that women can use kids against men. in these relationship disputes, where they'll hold back the child from the man, or they'll talk a lot of shit about the man to the child to destroy that relationship or to hurt the man.
No, that is wrong. That is wrong.
I think there should be something around that, but I don't agree with how these guys go about it.
No.
Do you know, there's different ways, you know. NEET, N-E-E-T, stands for not in education, employment, or training. So this kind of goes back to the same thing of them not willing to take part in society. Nice guy syndrome, a label term for men who believe they're entitled to relationships because they possess personality traits that make them good partners. So this is again like that Elliot Rodger guy. That's kind of what he was thinking.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm a nice guy. Why aren't you with me? It's like, you're not a nice guy. You're planning to shoot up a fucking bunch of people. You are not a nice guy.
No.
You weren't driven to that. If you go to that first thing, you're not a nice dude. Normie, an individual not part of the incel community. NPC, a non-playable character. They would see, that's what they would describe us as. NPCs. Blue pill people are NPCs. We just walk around going with the flow and we don't really, you know, step outside of that.
I'd love if we're all going around moving like NPCs.
Omega, a man who has trouble interacting with female population and thus has no prospects of a relationship. So why does Kenny Omega call himself Kenny Omega?
Because he is the alpha and the omega. He is the beginning and the end. I think that's where he gets it from, isn't it? It's like what God said, I am the alpha and I am the omega.
Pink pill, that is a femcel, a female incel. You fuckers, you get pink versions of everything. You get pink pills for your periods. You get pink pills for this.
We get pink cigarette papers, everything. The pink Panadol is no fucking difference.
PSL rating. 10-point scale used to rate an individual on their physical attractive. PSL is an acronym for PUA hate, slut hate, and lookism. 3 defunct online forums where the PSL rating system was created and proliferated. I tried to look this up and I couldn't find anything to do our PSL thing. I did put both of our pictures through look maxing apps. You, with the filtered pictures, got a 10. With the unfiltered pictures, you got a 9. I got, depending on the angle I shot from, I got a 7 and a 6. A high 6 and a mid 7 is what I got. I got 6.9 and 7.4.
I was wondering, was there actually a point something, or did they say high 6? No. Okay.
And that was like the first bit. The one that got the 7 was kind of face on, kind of just slightly off to the side. And then I can't remember what the other one was, but it didn't do as well. Brain cells, an alternative subreddit, which is bad. So it's basically people talking shit about the incels. It's same as incel tears.
Okay.
Rage fuel, that's stuff that makes them angry. Red pill, we've talked about. Roasty, we've talked about. Scientific black pill, so that's when they can prove through scientific methods that they're right. But it's never proper scientific thing. So C-maxing, I was wondering what this was. Southeast Asia max. So that's where they will go to Southeast Asia, where they will have better luck with women, because apparently the Asian women don't like the Asian men. So when they see a big old Nordic white man walking on in, they're more likely to jump on the chance to ride him.
Okay.
And that you just jokingly did off camera there. You went small penis. That is the
that is the stereotype
that they believe, and that's why a lot of Asian guys are incels as well. There's a lot of them, Asian, Arab, Muslim. There's a lot of them being incels because they are kind of, I mean, I would kind of say that they have a bit of a bit of work to do in the whole social kind of, in the stereotypical sense of things. Like if someone's going to judge you solely on stereotype, it is a little harder from that part of the world.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, I wouldn't say that's down to your physical traits. I would say that's down to cultural fucking shit as well. Because in that part of the country, your government is rather dominating the shit out of you and forcing you to become fucking slaves. Because that's what I believe most of Asia seems to be. You know, when you're looking at China, Japan, stuff like that, they're very strict. They're very fucking, you have to act this fucking way. And you have to be busting your ass all day, every
China,
day.
more know? So, yeah.
So I would believe, like, there maybe looks, you know, when you meet, you come over to the western side of the world and people meet you, unless you are a big jacked up, muscly, fucking good looking guy, it can be a little more difficult for you. And then when you're coming from Muslim countries, it's harder for you as well because you're coming from a place where you're probably sexually repressed yourself. And then you're leaving this place where culturally women will do whatever you fucking tell them. And you're coming to a place where women
can dress the way they want.
And they don't know how to act around women who can show flesh.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, that's why they're always asking you to get your bobs out.
Your bobs out.
But, I mean, again, I don't think it is. I think if that preconception is there, I think you can work your way past that very easily by just being a decent person.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah. And talking to and getting into a conversation with someone, letting them see you're a good person.
Yeah.
A simp, I think I know what that is. That's just someone that's stupid, is it? A man who invests a significant amount of time and money in a woman who isn't romantically interested in him. So friend zone.
Yeah.
Is what they would call a simp. Yeah. Sexual market value, we've talked about that. A soy boy. Slang term for used by incels to describe feminists or left-wing men who lack necessary masculine qualities, based on the myth that if men drink dairy-free milk alternatives, they become weak and feminine. I've never heard that. Is that true?
So if you drink like coconut milk, you're going to grow tits. Okay.
Essentially, yeah. Soy-ciety, which is just that, except bigger with everybody. All the people involved in that thing. For pandering to left-wing politics, feminism, and LGBTQ inclusion. So are we a society over here? Yeah. Welcome to the Horrorverse society.
I don't like it.
I don't like soy though, so it's not going to work for me. Status max. To status max means to increase one's social status, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, same as all the other shit. There isn't much more that we haven't really fucking covered here. Tic Tacs. What's that? Used in context of a woman overdosing on Tic Tacs, implying an attempted suicide.
Oh.
To get attention. Attention-seeking suicide. Fake suicide.
Yeah.
TikTok pill, an example of incels keeping up with the current trends on TikTok. Okay. Wage cook, waifu, white knight. A man who rushes to a woman's aid in any situation. He usually acts heroic and protective in order to feel better about himself. Or he's just a decent person.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Do you know? 601. But that's it. That's pretty much all of it. I mean...
Dick cell.
What's a dick cell?
An incel with a penis below average length. Fake cell, someone who pretends to be an incel. Mental cell, an incel with mental health issues. Near cell, somebody who rarely has sex but does not qualify as an incel. Old cell, an incel who believes that society sees them as no longer attractive due to their old age. Poor cell is a poor incel.
Jesus, we went 2 hours with this again.
Rice cell.
I can guess what that is.
Sand cell.
Oy. I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't think there is any solution to this. What?
A wizard cell. An incel who was a virgin after the age of 30.
Oh, that's really bigging you up in there.
Wizard cell. Is that the same rankings as the KKK? Don't they have wizards and dragons?
Grand dragons. I don't know. Another group I don't really know a whole lot about, to be honest. No. But I don't know. See, it's sad because I don't think there's any real way to fix it.
No.
I mean, short of shutting down the internet. I think this is just one of those sides of the internet. It's the worst thing about the internet. The internet has given us a lot, right?
Yeah.
Given us a lot of freedoms, given us a lot of ways to communicate with people who live across the fucking world and stay in contact with people, to learn stuff. I mean, knowledge is at our fingertips. To be fair, we wouldn't be doing this without the internet.
I wouldn't be able to work full time and still be a mom to my, without the internet.
Yeah. And just outside of the fact that we record and release everything on the internet, there is no way we could watch all the movies we were watching
without the
internet. Yeah. You know, think back, because I was only thinking about this earlier on when I was thinking about, that I'd watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer this week. And I was thinking, but back in the day, I only saw I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And that would be completely out of the question now. I'd have to watch the first one first, the second one second, the third, to get it all in sequence. But back then, you didn't give a fuck because you have to pay to see every individual movie. You don't pay one price for thousands of movies. You pay that one same price for
every night.
I think it was at its best, if you weren't going for a new release, you could get 3 for a $5 in Extravision. Extra Max. I know, I'm just so used to saying maxing now, man. In Extravision. I think it was like 3 for a week for a $5 or something like that back in the day. And that was okay. But,
yeah.
3 for a week. I'd end up watching those movies over and over again. But it would have made it really hard for us to it wouldn't have made it impossible. It would have made it harder for us to do what we're doing now without the internet. So, I mean, like, it's given us a lot, but unfortunately, the internet's given us an awful lot of bad as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of like, I don't know, which do you think came first? Do you think people were always depressed, or it's just more noticeable now because it's on the internet all the time? You know, all these extra depression, all these extra kind of mental health issues that we have now.
I think that people were always depressed, that there always has been depression. But what's fucking a lot of people up is, say they get into a rut like this, as in like where the incels are, but then it doesn't help. An echo, yeah. But then it doesn't help when they're going online. Like you said, like you could be walking down the street and they see couples, they're going online, and whether it's fictionalized versions of somebody's life or real versions of somebody's life, they're seeing like all these people doing better for themselves on the internet. And I think that kind of contributes to it as well. But I also think like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you could be depressed, but you knew how to, not that you knew how to get on with it, you just kind of kept it in you because you didn't really talk about it like a whole lot. So I think that's where the whole strong silence.
But then there's the other side of it, of if you talk to the wrong person, you end up here in this kind of fucking situation. Because to be honest, I've had that problem a few fucking times where I'm looking at our life and I'm like, why are we not where I mean, we got into this going, all right, this is going to take 4 years. We're now coming up close to 2 years now doing it. And things have went nice and steady and everything's kind of tipping away nicely. But then you're watching other people on Instagram, where we do most of our promotion and posting, and you see what they're doing. But then I have to every time I'm looking at that.
Can't let it get in on you.
Every time I'm looking at that, right? And I'm thinking, how come they're getting on so much better than us? And I stop and remember, we also set up everything that goes up there. Everything is handpicked, edited, filtered, and then put up there. So people be looking at us and thinking the exact fucking same thing, but it's like, no. I mean,
we
don't even go on location for your pictures. They're all AI background. You know, everything is fake. Everything is phony. It's just to try and boost things or get your attention, to get more fucking, I think what you see of people online is what they want out of life, not what they have currently, but what they're gaming to get, what they're goaling to get. And I think that does hurt. I think like when you have people who maybe down their luck or having a shit time or coming from a shit background, they're looking at all this stuff and they're thinking this is how everybody else lives. And then you have to realize, no, everybody else has the same problems as you do.
Oh yeah. And even if they do have like the fancy house and the fancy car and the family and the kids, they could be coming offline and back into really shit relationships. Like, you do not know what's going on when that phone goes off or behind closed doors, like just because they might have a bigger house than you.
And that big fancy house comes with a big ass mortgage.
It absolutely
which means you gotta fucking work, because if you don't work, they take that house back off you. You don't understand that because you're having your lay down and rot thing and you're doing it in your parents' fucking house. So it's not a big fucking issue to you. You don't have to worry about bills. You've never had a point where you worried about bills or debts, or you don't have kids, so you don't understand what it's like to fucking constantly worry about them and worry about what's happening to them and what's happening to them at school and how
and what you're going to sacrifice for them.
And in relationships, what you got to do for each other to try and make fucking things work. Because not every day, you see us at our best on camera every fucking day. You see us
killing each other.
You hear us at our best. Right? But there's times where, I mean, people will notice there's times there where we could go a week or two without dropping any episodes. And sometimes it's because of technical difficulties. And sometimes there's been times where I've set up everything, sat right here in this chair and just sat here. And you've known it. You've looked at me and you're like, are you okay? And it's like, I can't do this tonight. Because it's hard to tell you, because you know you have to be cheery for these people.
Yeah.
You know you have to put in the effort for it to work.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to get there. And I always say that's what kind of is probably stopping me from going to the next level, is I keep fucking stopping and not starting and trying to find that driving force to talk positively when you're not feeling good. But you got to understand that people feel like that all the time as well. And it's not just fucking you, but I suppose there's support. We go to the right support system. Yeah. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say that. I mean,
it's not with that we're like with incels where they are going to what they perceive as a support system and they're like, you should totally kill yourself. As in, like, we have a support system that lifts us up.
Yeah. And that's what you're trying to fucking find, which I can understand. Again, I have sympathy for the guys who are depressed and got stuck into this. I'm not sympathetic for the loud ones on top that are making all the fucking noise. Because they're the same assholes like Donald Trump and McGregor and fucking Tate and all these kind of fucking guys who are up there trying. And that's the worst part as well for these people now who are looking outward. This is what they're seeing on the outward fucking side of it, like, you know.
So they're being given the green flag.
Donald fucking Trump walking around fucking waving his tiny dick in people's faces and you know,
grabbing him by the.
You know, and it's like, well, I mean, fuck, man. And that guy's had 3 wives, so don't even fucking start with me that he can't find a girlfriend.
Apparently his ex is buried in his back garden, legitimately, with a little gravestone. No escape from after death, even.
Fucking man I've ever heard of. I just can't listen to him. I'm done with him, man. Every time I turn on the fucking TV or my phone, he's there, and he's 4 years can't fucking come
I think enough. When you have the leader of a country standing up and actually like imitating trans athletes is when you know you voted wrong.
Remember when he did the fucking...
I know, but this is the second time round.
For fucking... I'm going to say the word because a lot of people are saying it. I'm not approving of it. But the international sign fucking language for fucking retarded. Remember when
what was the international sign? What is the international sign?
Jokingly.
Oh,
he went
I remember that. Yeah, no, I remember that.
While he was campaigning to be president.
But that was before he was president. This man stood up and he was like... No,
that was this time. The last time it was the grab the pussy thing. This time he did the
the last thing. Time it was that.
He did it again?
Time, all right, well, this time round he basically did the same thing with the trans athlete. And he was there, oh yeah, my wife tells me not to do these impressions because she says they're very unpresidential. But I'm going to do it anyway. Do you want me to do it anyway? I'm going to do it anyway. And he starts pretending to be like, a weightlifter. And she's like, oh, this is the girl weightlifter. And I can't do it. But then the man girl weightlifter comes along. And it was like, so if your wife is telling you as the first lady that is unpresidential, fucking listen to her.
Where are all the fucking, people who are supposed to be next to them telling them not to do that stuff?
They're just as fucking bad as him.
But yeah, I would say... right now is a very hard... I can see why incels are kind of boosted up at the moment because they have a lot of people in the mainstream media who talk a lot like them, act a lot like them, and are getting by. Yeah. So that's the shit part about this. But I'll stick by what I said in the middle of this episode. If there is someone who feels they're stuck in inceldom in Ireland and wants to fucking talk to someone decent about it, and actually wants to listen, not just fucking sit there and go, fucking, that doesn't work. You got to get up and give this shit a try. Otherwise, it's not going to fucking work. Go get yourself a life coach or something.
And I would also say if they do, I know that the one thing that you don't like is when you give somebody advice and they're like, oh, I still can't do this. And you're like, well, have you taken my advice?
Yeah. I've had people as well who've talked to me and it's like fucking...
moaning about what's going on.
This is what's wrong. It's like, well, here's my suggestion. Go try that. And then the next day they message you with the exact same fucking complaints. It's like, well, did you try what I fucking suggested? And no. Well, then fuck off. You know what I mean?
Then you're your own worst enemy.
All you like complaining then. Don't be giving out to me.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I don't know. It's a fucking grim fucking situation. I don't really know how you fix it. I don't know if there is a fucking fix for it. Just let's hope there's more of us than there is of them for as long as we're alive anyway.
Fingers crossed. And our kids.
Yeah. I'll protect you from that. It's all right.
Ah, thank you, Chad.
Yeah, size of those little fucking piss hands with their tiny wrists. Just break all their wrists as they come out. Snap.
They'd be heartbroken.
Ah, you wrist cell bitch. I'm only joking. Just kick him in the nuts and push him over.
Most of them don't have nuts, but anyway.
Oh God. Okay, one last question. Controversial question before we close this out. You don't have to answer if you don't want that. But all these guys are obsessed as well with penis size. Can you say once and for all what is a good size? What do women actually like? Do they actually want big mega dongs, and are they going to run away from the small ones, or is there a specific, or does it matter? Is it true that it's not the size of the boat, but the motion in the ocean?
Oh, there's that as well. But I would also say that girth, like thickness, has a lot to do with it. Like, so not like just length. So if it's a smaller penis, but it's like a thick one, and that's like a different ball game. But I'm just not attracted to micro penises.
Oh well, yeah, that's more of a medical condition.
Well, it's not. It's just the term for a small penis. I mean, like, to me, small would be like 4 inches.
Yeah. I saw a diagram earlier on, all right, about this. And again, unfortunately, the poor Asians got the lower end of the stick on that one.
On average, they can't be smaller than about 4 or 5 inches.
Well, they said the world average was 5.5.
That's completely acceptable.
And where were they going with the biggest one? I think it might have been the Congo that had like the biggest.
Oh, yeah.
Their top average biggest, like in the 7.5 kind of area. But that was, again, average. But yeah, as you went down to these kind of Asian countries, that started to go down to, trees. And
I mean, I think 13 inches would be a bit scary and unmanageable.
I don't know.
Knock somebody out with it. Knock somebody out with that.
I don't know. I think, every plug has a socket. Every key goes into a specific keyhole. You can figure it out, guys. I mean, like I say, it's not all doom and gloom, and there are ways out. You just got to find them, and you got to be. I think the first thing, I think is the only thing you can suggest to them, is you have to be with. It's like a drug addict. You have to admit you have a problem, and take the first steps towards trying to figure out that problem.
Well, yeah.
You can sit around bitching for the rest of your life, but that's all you're going to be doing is bitching for the rest of your life. It's not going to change your situation. Yes, you'll die alone. Yes, you'll die miserable. But if you take a step out of your comfort zone and find, just the first step, and most likely your first step is therapy. But the first step, eventually things are going to get better for you. But you got to put in the work.
You do got to put in the work.
That's pretty much it. There's no other way
about it.
You got to
learn how to socialize.
It ain't going to come to your door. Not unless you pay it to. And those are called escort cells. They're not good either. Because you can't win. There is no winning with them.
And
that's the problem.
No,
it's
because
just
we
so
would
black
always
pill is
be wrong.
Best fucking description of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's leave them to wallow in their own shit here because I'm done. I can't look at them anymore. I can't read about them anymore. I don't want to know any more about them. And we've talked for them for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Again.
Yeah, it's longer than the last episode. Whew. So we're done. Next week we're going to come back and we're going to talk about comic books.
Shoot, they're making you sweat.
No, it's just warm in here. Do you know?
Oh my God.
But I mean, like, do you know how I keep saying Last Podcast and Left is probably my favorite podcast? And I've been listening to them for fucking maybe 10 years now. I've listened to all their episodes multiple times.
Yeah.
Like I instead of listening to new podcasts, I'll just go back and listen to their old stuff over and over and over again because they make me laugh and I love what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Always love serial killer stuff and cult stuff and all that kind of stuff. But for the longest time, you'd always hear Henry Zabrowski, one of the hosts on it, talking about how he was sitting there topless to record. And I'm telling you now, it's May. And I am sweating my ass off under these fucking lights. By the time we get to June and July, you better be ready for some pasty white Irish chest right here.
Naturalist podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Because I can't take the heat, man. It's too much.
I need to get myself a fan.
Okay. We're done. I'm not talking about it anymore. Next week, we're coming back with Preacher, talking about comic books and TV shows, and that's going to be fun. And if you want to hear more about Preacher, go check out the main show this week, next week, possibly the week after that. It's going to be amazing.
Maybe the week after that?
I doubt it.
Oh, I thought you said 3 parts.
Yeah. This week, next week, the week after that.
Okay, cool.
1, 2, 3.
3.
All right, we're out of here. See y'all next time. Same live time. Same Horrorverse channel. Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.